213th National Western Stock Show. For those of you that are joining us on the right side of the podium here for the National Western Stock Show's 2019 Medal of Excellence Limousine Show. As we get started here, I do have a few things to take care of before we bring in the first class. It is with great sadness that the North American Limousine Foundation reports the loss of cornerstone limousine breeder Gene Raymond, who operates GV Limousine of Garnett, Kansas. Gene passed away suddenly of a heart attack last week while teaching Graham School. Graham School provides cattlemen valuable continuing education in regards to breeding cattle and herd management, and was a passion for Gene, who had been an instructor there since 1973. Gene and his wife Virginia began GV Limousine in 1978. They had built their cow herd to over 400 registered females and currently operate GV Limousine with Arnie and Stacy Hansen. Gene was a pioneer and innovator in the limousine breed. He was quick to adapt to new technology and opportunities in the seed stock business and quickly applied those tools and mission to raise high-quality seed stock, supplying commercial cattlemen superior genetics across the United States. Mr. Raymond was a past president of NWSS, 1986 to 1987. Gene was currently serving on the NWSS Board of Directors and was the current chairman of the Breed Improvement Committee. He had also served on the NWSS board during the 80s, devoting much of his life to the limousine breed. Gene was wholly devoted to his responsibilities as chairman of the Breed Improvement Committee, given the advent and release of Bolt EPDs and the application of new technologies in today's seed stock business. GV Limousine was an active member of NWSS, who also had his herd enrolled in NWSS whole herd reporting system, LIMS, and was a strong believer in performance data reporting and genomic testing to enhance accuracy of their EPDs. Mr. Raymond acquired his degree in animal science from Kansas State University. He served twice as the president of the Kansas Beef Council and also served previously as a member of the Kansas Livestock Association Executive Committee. Gene also served on the National Livestock and Meat Board for 16 years. Gene was actively engaged in service to others and gave back much of his life to friends in the U.S. cattle industry. Mark Anderson, executive director of NWSS, said of Gene, "Gene will be greatly missed by not only limousine seed stock breeders, but also commercial cattlemen throughout the United States." He was excited to get to Denver again this year, having devoted an extreme amount of time reorganizing the Breed Improvement Committee. He was actively engaging membership through his committee to come up with suggested mating targets for NWSS breeders in an effort to capitalize on genomic testing and Bolt EPDs. This was a coordinated effort with over 30 committee members over the past 6 months to assist membership in their mating decisions. He was a devoted breeder of limousine cattle and the North American Limousine Foundation. He will be greatly missed by friends and cattlemen throughout the nation. We have suffered the loss of a great man and friend to all he crossed paths with. The entire North American Limousine Foundation family is greatly saddened by the loss of a highly respected cattleman, and we ask you to keep his family in your prayers. Today's Medal of Excellence Limousine Show and Wednesday's Pin and Carload shows here at the 2019 National Western Stock Show is dedicated to the memory of Gene Raymond and GV Limousine. Ladies and gentlemen, would you all stand for a moment of silence for Mr. Gene Raymond? Thank you. Once again, thoughts and prayers to family and friends of Gene Raymond. Thank you. As we get started here on the limousine side, our judge for our show for Medal of Excellence is Jason Hoffman of Thedford, Nebraska. I'll tell you more about him as we move through the show. Our first class is a single entry class, class number 1, Division 1, Limousine. Birth date, June 5th, 2018. Back over on the South Devon side for the Open Show Bulls. The results on the Junior Bull Calf Division Championship as placed by our judge, Brian Barragry from Absaroki, Montana. 10-7-94 was your champion Junior Bull Calf. That comes out of Class 203. That's Fred. Joel Popkin, Swanville, Minnesota. Reserve comes from the same class as your champion. 10-7-93, Fargo. Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Next to the ring, single entry, Class 206 Senior Bull Calves. Born September 25th, 2017.
Good afternoon. Really a nice single entry heifer calf to start the Limousine show here. This heifer is extremely youthful. The little June here, I love how her neck sets up there high at the point of her shoulder. I like the condition she's in. She looks like a baby calf. I think there's a lot of future to her. She's really good on her feet and legs. When you ask her to move, she's plenty ample in terms of muscle. Just a really high quality individual to start here.
Result on the Limousine side for Class 1, Division 1. First place 4281, Frederica Bruce Lawrence, Anton, Texas. Up next, 3 entries in Class number 2. Birth dates range from May 12th through May 27th, 2018.
Here in our South Devon Bull Show, we've got a single entry senior calf come out here, extremely long-sided. You get in behind this calf and look down his top. He's big top, a calf with a lot of length of spine through the center portion of his body. He's got some base width, a bull that's got a lot of future to him as a herd sire.
Results on Class 206 Senior Bull Calves. First place 10-7-96. Walkaway Joe, Kibler Farms, Edinburgh, Virginia, Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. And that was also your Senior Bull Calf Division champion as well. Up next, Class 209 Spring Yearling Bulls, and this will be your Junior Bull Division Championship. 2 entries in this class and 1 class within the division.
Two really nice baby heifer calves here. The heifer that wins the class, I like a lot of things about. I like how maternal and feminine she's designed up through her front end. Very attractive through that front third. But I think what really sets these 2 heifers apart is the depth of body this heifer has and how square hipped she is for being so good in her muscle. But primarily, I like how this heifer gets around. She's a bigger footed heifer that's got more length of stride, and I think she's more correct from her hock to the ground. And she wins here too in total in terms of her performance numbers. This heifer on the standstill I love, and when you get up high on this heifer, she's got a lot of shape in her, she's got a lot of muscle to her, and she lays that back on a really long spine. She's just a little bit more tubular than our class winner and just a little bit shorter strided when you ask her to go, but 2 exceptionally good heifers here.
Over on the Limousine side, here's results on Class 2, Division 1. First place 4282, Fancy Chance, Kendall Spriggs, Afton, Oklahoma. Second, 4284, Flash, McKenna Richardson, Eureka, Kansas. The scratch was 4286. In the rig next, with our judge from Thedford, Nebraska, Jason Hoffman. This will be class number 3 in our first division here.
interesting pair of bulls here in our South Devon show. They're both really high quality individuals, but we have some differences and some give and take here. I'm going to use the bull, maybe gives up a little bit of side length, but I think when you look at his overall design, his spring of rib, his balance, I think this bull kind of comes to the top for me. But what really wins this class for me is when we put him in motion. This bull has some flex. He gets out and travels pretty nice. A bull that's smooth through his joint. He has some bone. He's got some thickness. Granted, he's given up quite a few pounds to the bull that's coming out here in second. Really long-sided bull. I just love the performance in this bull. I would just like to free this bull up really on both ends. I'd like to see him flex just a little nicer for me as he gets off his rear wheels today, but extremely nice bull.
There's the results on Class 209. Spring Girding Bulls on the South Devon side for Open Show Bulls. And your Junior Bull Division Champion, first place in champion 10-7-98, Easton, JVM Cattle Company, Pella, Iowa. Second in the class and reserve champion, Junior Bull 10-7-99, Mr. Brightside, Lane Geis, Pierce, Minnesota, Kyle Strandberg, Maynard, Minnesota. Up next, our final class and division in front of our grand champion South Devon Bull selection. This will be Class 212, 2-year-old bulls, born January 1st through June 30th, 2016. 2 entries in this class. This will be your Senior Bull Division Championship as well. Judge once again Brian Berrigree from Absaroki, Montana.
Really an attractive heifer calf here. She's got a ton of look to her. She's really good in terms of her rib. She's good out through her hip. She's exceptionally sound when you ask her to go too. I just see a lot of future in this heifer, and she's just a little bit more feminine, not only through her neck, but through her underneath too. She's a cleaner naveled heifer that's just more attractive. I like the ruggedness and the balance and just the mass and volume of this heifer here in second. Cosmetically, I would like to clean her up a little bit in that navel, but I think she's a heifer that's probably as good a footed heifer as there is in the class. She's feminine enough up through that neck to me. She doesn't have quite the sweep to her belly, but that's not a huge deal because she's got enough rib. She's really good in the shape of her rib and her forerib. She's just a longer spine, more limber heifer than the heifer here in third. And I think she's a little looser up in that shoulder end off of her hind end as well. This heifer wants to just get a little bit more tight. It's not just on her feet and legs. It's also in her spine, but she's a really nice heifer. She balances out to be a square made, more eye-appealing heifer than this heifer here in fourth. This heifer's kind of in about 3 different circles. She's a little lower fronted. She's a little narrower chested. I do like the length of this heifer. She's exceptionally long bodied and she's got some shape and some hip to her. Just a really good kind of a female. I think in terms of balance, she falls short of the 3 heifers ahead of her. She's a more limber, bigger boned heifer than the heifer here that follows her. This heifer's very attractive. I like her in terms of her composition and her flesh. She's a very youthful appearing heifer. She too is just a little bit low fronted and she's a little bit tight in those blades and in that shoulder when you ask her to go, but she's a heifer that's got some length and femininity. This heifer here is a very high-performing, long-made, exceptionally long-spined heifer. She's a little bit too high up in that twist, but the biggest thing for me is I'd like to change her from the hock to the ground.
Over on the South Devon side, we got a pair of older bulls come out here. I think the bull that comes to the top for me, a big, soft-sided bull that's got some sweep to his rib cage. He's got some levelness through his underline. When you put him in motion for a big bull out here, he gets out and travels really nice. He's good on his feet, a bull that's got a lot of potential in terms of herd sire. Bull coming out next, really long-sided bull, extremely attractive from the side. Maybe like to deepen him up, drop him down in that flank just a little bit, maybe free him up just a little bit when we put him in motion.
Catch us up on results here. First of all, on our open show, South Devon, Class 212 and your champion senior bull. First place in champion 10-801, Derby, Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Second in the Class 212 and reserve champion senior bull 10-800, DJ, Fraser Ranch, Paxico, Kansas, Lane Guys, Pierce, Minnesota. Up next for the South Devon, the grand champion bull selection with our judge Brian Berrigree from Absaroki, Montana. Division champion reserves back in the ring for that. Over the Limousine side, Class 4 is in the ring, Division 1 females, Limousine. Here's results on Class 3. Class 3. First place 42.96, Auto Fly Girl, Cross Creek Limousine, Circle R Ranch, Windview. Second 42.95, Fabrina, Christopher Allen Barton, Jarrell, Texas. Third 42.97, McKenna Richardson, Eureka, Kansas. Fourth 42.98, Faith, Garrett Walden, Tonganoxie, Kansas. Fifth 42.99, Faith Spriggs, Afton, Oklahoma. Sixth 42.92, Barry's Free Spirit, Rowdy Berry, Port Orchard, Washington. In your programs, the placings for Class 3 are as follows: 6, 2, 1, 3, 4, 5. Once again, 6, 2, 1, 3, 4, 5. In the ring with our judge, Jason Hoffman of Tedford, Nebraska. This is Class number 4, Division 1 female, Limousine. Class number 4 in the ring. A little bit more about Jason Hoffman of Thetford, Nebraska, our limousine judge for the Medal of Excellence show. Graduate of Kansas State University, grew up on a registered cow-calf operation, has a ranch in the Nebraska Sandhills, and sells Hereford Angus and Sim Angus cattle. They have production sales in February and in September. They also market 500 bulls and 500 females each and every year. His favorite part about the livestock industry is the family, the breeders that we have all running a family operation, the challenge of taking our genetics to the next level. Once again, our judge for the National Limousine Show for the Medal of Excellence, Jason Hoffman, Thetford, Nebraska.
This class winner here, she balances out the nicest. I think she's the cowiest made female in here as well, as far as having some natural substance and some rib to her. She's a heifer that's still got some look. I like the pattern of this heifer. Maybe doesn't balance out quite as sweet as a couple of the class winners we've seen yet so far when you get her on the move. Her bone doesn't really correlate with her body. She's a little bit rounder bone, and she's really a big-bodied heifer, and her underpinnings just look a little bit small relative to the rest of her. But the top 2/3 of this female I love. I love how roomy-middled she is. I like a lot of things about her, and she's plenty feminine enough for me, too, up through that front third to have that kind of body and hip in her. The heifer here in second, she's just a little bit higher and more elevated in her chest and rib and twist. I'd probably like to body her down just a little bit, but I think relative to the two heifers ahead of her, she's more appropriately framed. She's a little bit more youthful. She's got a lot of good to her. The biggest thing that separates her and first, though, is the structural movement when we get them to go. But a very nice type of a heifer. Really a pretty attractive heifer here. I like a lot of things about it. I love this heifer on the standstill. She's really got some depth of rib to her. I like how raw she is in terms of her composition for a heifer calf. She's just going to get on the bigger end for me. She's really long up through that cannon bone. But the biggest thing is I'll take them big if they're soft enough all day long, but this heifer's just a little bit pinched in that forerib, and it correlates into her shoulder too. She's just a little too narrow-chested. I'd like to pull her apart and maybe widen her up in her pins a little bit, but I think she's a heifer that's got a lot of good. She's got so much more depth of rib and flank than this heifer that concludes the class. This heifer's exceptionally long. She's as square-hipped as any heifer in the class. She's just a little too round and tubular in her rib for me to get any higher. But from end to end, another very nice class of females.
Here's the result on the Limousine side for class number 4. First place 4,300, Felicia Tucker Parkinson, Lavellen, Texas. Second, 4416, Foxy Fiona, Elizabeth Moore, Magnolia, Texas. Third, 4302, Faith Danielle Parker, Hearn, Texas. Fourth, 4301, Weiss Limousine, Wellsville, Missouri. The scratch in the class was 4303. And your programs of placings are 1, 2, 4, 3, scratch. Up next in the ring with Jason Hoffman, our judge from Thedford, Nebraska, will be class number 5. Class number 5.
Here in our Devon show, we didn't have quite as many numbers of bulls as we had in the Heifer show, but we had some real quality come out here. I think these exhibitors need a round of applause. This is a really nice set of bulls from end to end. As we started off our bull show, we had this black calf come out, a calf that was soft through the center portion of his body. He had some flex when we put him in motion. A bull that I think as you get him on feed and get him on down the road, he's got a lot of potential to go ahead and be a herd sire. A bull that's got some meat and muscle, a lot of the things that you like to see in a herd sire. As we got into the second division, extremely long-sided bull. He had a bull that was just like him in that division, but he really came to the top in terms of his shape. I like the shape of his muscle. I like to look down his top, and yet he has some side length. Just a really nice bull. As we got into the senior calf division, we had another calf with a lot of length, a calf with a lot of rib shape, a calf when you get behind him, he's adequate in terms of his thickness, a calf with a lot of future. When we got into our yearling bull class, this bull kind of came to the top in terms of his design. When you view this bull from the side, he's really soft, he's really level through his underline. He's extended out through that front end, yet he's masculine. Bull, again, with a lot of herd bull potential. Then we come to our last division, a bull with a lot of power, a bull that's really smooth with that power. He has some forerib, he has some thickness. When you watch him out on the move for a bull this big and this stout, he gets out and travels really good. Let's give him a round of applause, and I'll go pick the bull I like today.
Grand champion bull 10801 out of the senior bull division, Derby, Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. That'll bring 10800 into consideration reserve.
Another really fault-free heifer here to win the class. I think she does so in terms of composition. I like how smooth made this heifer is. She's not going to overpower a lot of females, but she's just so complete. She's feminine enough up through that front end that you're going to find some a little prettier headed and maybe a little cleaner throated, but this heifer carries herself extremely well. Not as big a bone as some, but I think she's extremely clean through her joints, and I think just an overall freshness and youthfulness and just structure, and with some added look and a nice balanced profile, she wins the class. She's so much smoother made than this heifer here in second. This heifer gets too raw for me. She opens up in that shoulder and just a little bit tighter in her forerib, and I just see her being constructed just a little coarser throughout than our class winner. With that, she wants to get just a little bit pigeon-toed when she's on the move. But there's enough length and power and performance to go ahead and get over this heifer here in third. This heifer's just a little too jammed up for me up through that front end, and she's a little bit shorter bodied. For as much muscle and mass as she's got, though, she does a really good job of filling her track when she gets around the ring. I'd like to pull her apart and give her some more chest floor, open her up behind a little bit. She gets a little more narrow tracked, and those legs kind of want to come out of the same hole, but I think she's got so much more rib and just power all the way throughout in WDA than this heifer. It concludes the class. I appreciate this heifer for her composition. She's extremely feminine up through that front end. I'd just like to give her some more power and substance and some more WDA to find herself any higher.
Catch up on results back over to the open show on the South Devon side of the show ring. The reserve grand champion bull is 10798. That's out of class 209, and your junior bull division, that's JVM Easton, JVM Cattle Company, Pella, Iowa. picture break on that side, and then we'll resume with Pound Maker Heifers. 401A will be the first class coming back after pictures. Over on the Limousine side for Division 1. In the ring next will be Class 6. Several entries in Class 6 just in front of our first division championship. Going back to Class 5, that last class, here's the results. First place 4304, Fergie, Bruce Lawrence, Anton, Texas. Second place 4305, Otto Flory, Pinniger Limousine, Springfield, Missouri. Third 4311, Felicia, Wyatt Perry, Sarcoxie, Missouri. In fourth 4307, Fiona, Torrance Spriggs, Afton, Oklahoma. Two scratches in the class was 4308 and 4310. In your programs for Class 5, the placings are as follows: 1, 2, 4, scratch, scratch, 3. In the ring, as I mentioned, with our judge from Thedford, Nebraska, Jason Hoffman. This is class number 6. Birth dates range from March 1st through March 15th, 2018. Just in front of our first division championship. Well, we got just a moment here. The North American Limousine Foundation elected new members and officers for its board of directors during the annual meeting held in Denver on Monday of this week. Those newly elected to serve the foundation for 3-year terms are Ron Cunningham of Rose, Oklahoma, Troy Gulata of Independence, Louisiana, Kevin Oshner of Kersey, Colorado, and Jerry Wolf of Morris, Minnesota. Gary Fuchs, Cameron, Texas, was selected to serve as the NWSS president. He succeeds Brett Bergert of Allison, Texas. Joey Friend of Elizabeth, Colorado, was chosen to serve as vice president. The remaining executive committee consists of Kurt Wazorek from Mount Vernon, South Dakota, Secretary Mark Barker of Newcastle, Oklahoma, and serving as treasurer. And then also we've got Dan Hunt, Oxford, Nebraska, is the member at large. Brett Bergert, Allison, Texas, will continue on the executive committee as ex officio. The additional breeders of the 15-member NWSS board of directors include Joe Moore, Rafine, Virginia, Bruce Lawrence, Anton, Texas, Charles Linhart, Leon, Iowa, Wade Beckman, Roberts, Idaho, and Randy Corns, Altoona, Kansas. The North American Limousine Foundation would like to thank the 4 retiring board members for their service. Those retiring members include Dexter Edwards of Beulahville, North Carolina, Jim Bob Hendrickson of Adair, Oklahoma, Austin Hager of Carlsruhe, North Dakota, and Greg Blades of Midway, Kentucky. If you want more information about the Limousine and Limflex cattle breed, as well as more about the North American Limousine Foundation programs and services, simply visit NALF, that's NALF.org, or contact the NALF office at 303-220-1693. Also like to thank those members of the North American Limousine Junior Association Board of Directors, the junior board of directors that are with us helping us in the ring. President Randa Taylor, Texas, Vice President Dominique Rupert of Illinois, Treasurer Lindsay Galata of Louisiana, Kelly Hicks of Kentucky, Cole Schrader of Oklahoma, Tristan Gulata of Louisiana, Zane Gavette of Washington, Brooke Falk of Kansas. Thank you for helping us in the ring. North American Limousine Junior Association's Junior Board of Directors. Also like to thank our state arena sponsors as we move through both of our shows today. Big thanks to Sullivan Supply and Stock Show University, trusted by champions nationwide. Thanks to them, all the livestock shows are webcasted live at the archives through nationalwestern.com, and they also sponsor the Livestock Media Scholar Program. Sullivan Supply, the innovative leader in livestock grooming supplies. Huge thanks to John Deere, the official agriculture and turf equipment provider of the National Western. Visit your local John Deere dealer for great deals, and remember, nothing runs like a deer. Oh, big thank you to our friends at Purina for sponsoring all of the webcasting and a renowned media scholar program as well. You can watch every show once again live and the archives at nationalwestern.com. Purina, feed greatness. Also like to thank Andis. You can watch renowned Andis livestock grooming educator Kirk Steerwalt demonstrate cattle fitting in the Beef Palace Auction Arena. Mr. Steerwalt will explain the latest techniques to get award-winning results from your Andis tools. Check your schedule for dates and times. And lastly, we'd like to thank our friends at Showbloom for sponsoring all of the Hill and Yards Open breeding cattle back tags for the entire 2019 National Western Stock Show. Champions don't just show up, they win with Showbloom. Thanks to Showbloom, Purina, Sullivan Supply, Stock Show University, Andis, and John Deere. Also keep in mind, official livestock photographer for the National Western Stock Show is Show Champions. Check out the pictures taken in the ring and at the backdrops by visiting showchampions.com. You can also purchase pictures online as well.
We're going to leave these heifers as they stand. It gets close in some ways, but for right now and probably even for next year, I don't know how close it is. Both of these heifers are two of the soundest heifers when you get them in terms of movement. You get them to go around the ring. This heifer that wins the class, maybe she's not as sharp-necked as this heifer, and it doesn't come out quite as high. But this heifer's got a lot to her with enough look. She's good enough on her feet and legs. Just a very good kind of a heifer that blends together pretty nice. Ample in terms of rib, plenty ample in terms of muscle when you get behind her. She's just got more shape and handles herself better than this heifer here in second. I like this female a lot, and the reason I like her is because she looks like a really good one to feed for a bred heifer to me. But the problem I have with this heifer is she's a little bit low fronted. She gets up higher in that tail head than she is at the point of her shoulder, and she's a little bit high in her twist. But the things I really like about this female, and it's why she's second and not third, is she is so angular and feminine up through that front end. She takes a tremendous amount of length to her stride. She's got more depth of heel than either heifer on either side of her and a little bigger footed, but the other heifer in front of her is not deficient in any area there either. This heifer here in third matches our class winner better. I don't like her feet as well. I think she wants to curl a little bit on that toe. And for a heifer on the standstill that you think's got quite a bit to her, she doesn't have as much body as the two heifers ahead of her. I'd like to change her there, and when he wants to speed her up a little bit, she puts herself in pieces as well. But there's so much more base substance to that female, and she's so much better in her ankle than this heifer here in fourth. I appreciate this heifer for her composition. She's extremely long up through that neck. She just kind of breaks apart and puts herself in pieces when you get her to going, and she does it on the standstill as well. She's feminine, and she's got enough future to go ahead and get over this little man's heifer here. He does an exceptionally good job showing this heifer for being 7 years old. When she come in, she kind of put herself in pieces, and the longer he showed her, the better he did with this heifer. And she's just so much more complete than these two heifers that follow her, and she puts herself together better on the move. This heifer here runs into a class where she's just plainer. She's plainer up through that head. She's plainer through her neck. She's a little bit more round in her bone. She doesn't balance out as nice as the heifers ahead of her, nor have the shape. The heifer that concludes the class is exceptionally well presented. She's a very nice heifer. She's just a little too small for me. I don't think she's got as much future as the heifers ahead of her. She's just a little too much on the cute side, but extremely complete and extremely well presented.
Here to start off our pound maker show, extremely fancy female comes out here. She's really extended through that front end, and then she follows into being really long spine through the center portion of that body. You love the overall design on the side profile. Yeah, when you get in behind this heifer, she's got some substance to her. She's got some top in her. She stands nice and wide. Heifer with a lot of future. Just a real good single entry female.
Catch you up on results here. Sorry for the delay. Over on the Pound Maker Heifer Show, we're restarted with our judge, Brian Berrigree, Absaroki, Montana. Coming in the ring, a single entry, Class 401B. Here's a result on Class 401A Heifer Calf. First place, 10-804, Fraser Miss Kitty, Griffith Farm and Ranch, Clayton, Kansas. Back over on the Limousine side, in the ring, this will be your first division Limousine Championship. Classes 1 through 6. First and seconds back in the ring. Here's a result on Class 6. First place, 43-16, Peyton Cade Ginsini from Hennepin, Illinois. Second place, 43-18, Faith Ashlyn Oshner, Kersey, Colorado. Third, 43-13, Zesty, Brooklyn, and Ludens from Hurley, South Dakota. Fourth, 43-15, Izzy, Madison Craig, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Fifth, 43-19, Faith Bo London, Collinsville, Texas. Sixth, 43-17, Fabulous You, Tucker Parkinson, Lavellan, Texas. Seventh, 43-21, First Lady Rowdy Berry, Port Orchard, Washington. And your programs to place in for Class 6 are as follows: 3, 4, 1, 6, 2, 5, 7. In the ring with our judge from Thedford, Nebraska, Jason Hoffman. This is your first and seconds for the Division I Limousine Championship.
Really a nice lineup of heifer calves here. Maybe not every one of them is exactly the same, but one thing's for sure, they all got a tremendous amount of quality, and relative to their class, I think they were exceptionally good representation type heifers to get that through. Just really good from top to bottom. There's one heifer that just ties all the good things I like, I guess, together in one, and I'll go out and pick them, and then we'll get you a reserve too.
Another single entry, early summer calf come out here. A heifer that's really long spine. She's really nicely designed. She's got a nice sweep to her lower rib cage. Heifer that's got some bone and some future to her. Be interesting to see how she grows out. Just a real sound individual.
Your Division I champion on the Limousine side comes out of class number 3, 4296 Auto Fly Girl, 252 FET, Cross Creek Limousine, Circle R Ranch, Windview. That'll move 4295 into contention for reserve.
It gets a little closer for reserve. I mean, and it comes down to this heifer that would come out of the second class and this heifer here out of the last class. This heifer here out of the last class has just got plenty honor for me right now, this stage of the game. I love a lot of things about her. I love how much substance she's got to her. She's relatively sound to the lineup, and I think she's sound anywhere. Don't take that wrong, because she's a very complete heifer that does get around good. I like the youthfulness and just the baby calf look of this heifer this young lady's got up here in second. She matches our division winner here a whole lot. I can read a lot into this one in the future, how elevated she is up through that neck and how it ties into her shoulders. I like the spring and the sweep and the depth of her rib. She's extremely good in her lines. I think she's exceptionally good footed when she gets around the ring too. She's just a very fault-free heifer. I mean, they're on totally different ends of the spectrum, but I really like the future of this heifer calf out of the second class, and she'll be your reserve division.
Your reserve champion, Division I Limousine 4282, comes out of Class 2. That is Fancy Chance, Kendall Spriggs, Afton, Oklahoma. Up next, the ring will be Class 7, Second Division. Class 7, the ring with our judge, Jason Hoffman, Thetford, Nebraska. Going back over on the Pound Maker heifers, result on Class 401B heifer calves. First place, 10-805, JVM Fancy, Jalen Joy Smith, Pella, Iowa. In the ring, 3 entries for Class 401B heifer calves, born April 2018. Judge once again Brian Berrigree from Absaroki, Montana, on that side of the show ring.
Three really nice heifers out here, and we got some differences in kind and differences in condition. I'm going to start off the class with the heifer that did the most things right for me. I like the spring of rib this heifer has. I like the depth of side she has, and yet she does it with some levelness through her underline. When you look at her from the side profile, she's really nice how it hooks the pins. A heifer, when we put her in motion, she travels really nice. She stands up on a nice sound hoof. As we get into the second place heifer, I love the design of this heifer from the side profile. I think she's got a lot of future. I maybe like to pick her up just a little bit, stand her up just a little more on her feet, but I think a heifer that's got a load of future, really long spine, really nicely designed. I love the rib shape and the heifer coming out next. I maybe like to level her up just a little bit, drop her down a little in the flank, maybe pick her up just a little.
Thank you, Mr. Berrigree. Here are the results of Class 401B heifer calves on the Poundmaker Heifer Show. First place, 10-807, Fatty Patty, Hannah Ganech from Klamath, Oregon. Second, 10-806, Fraser Roxanne. Travis Muniz from Princeton, California. Third, 10-809, Fat Amy. Hannah Ganech, Klamath, Oregon. In the ring, 5 entries for Class 401C heifer calves born March through, well, it's March of 2018. Class 401C coming in the ring next, heifer calves on the pound maker side of the show ring. In the ring, 5 entries for Class 401C heifer calves born March through, well, it's March of 2018. Class 401C coming in the ring next, heifer calves on the pound maker side of the show ring.
Nice class of heifers here. A lot of give and take in these females, even right up here off the get-go. This heifer that wins the class is the most fault-free heifer, and of the 3 up here on the front end, she's the best footed as well, primarily off of her hind feet. But this heifer is exceptionally good in terms of her rib, fleshing ability. She's good back through her hips. She's extremely clean in her joints. Just a very maternal design type female. I would like to maybe lift her up a little bit higher in her neck shoulder junction there, make her a little bit more attractive through that front third like this heifer here in second. This heifer here just gets a little too restricted in her movement. She's a little too small footed for me. Very well presented, a very nice type of a heifer. She just would, I'd like to relax her a little bit, starting up there in her shoulder and carry that back through her hip and put her on a bigger base of foot. This heifer here in third, that left hind kind of is like a closed hoof kind of. I'd like to make her just a little bigger footed, and she puts herself in pieces a little bit too when you get her on the get-go. I'd like to start her a little bigger there at the base, but she gets a little bit tight right behind her shoulder. She's a very attractive made female. I like this heifer on the standstill a whole lot, how elegant she is up through that front end. Very good in her depth of body, good back out through her hip. I just like to balance her out from front to back when you ask her to move more than what she is. The heifer here that follows her in fourth is exceptionally good presented, well presented. She's got a lot to her. She's got a lot of muscle over her top, back through her hip. She's just a little too restricted in those hind two. She falls short of filling her track. A little bit more narrow base to go with that, but I think she's got a lot of length and a lot of look to her. And she's just so much more attractive than these heifers that conclude the class. I'd like to balance these heifers out just a little bit from their hip down into their hind leg to start with, maybe make them a little bit more feminine through their front end, but they both have some shape to their top and back through their hip. This female here is just a little bit deeper in her forerib back to her flank, but a nice class of females from end to end.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Here's the results on Class 7 as we get started with our first class in Division 2. First place, 43-27, Mercedes, Madison Craig, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Second, 43-23, Five Star Charm, Madison Ratliff, Westphalia, Kansas. In third, 43-29, Tanner Walden, Tonganoxie, Kansas. In fourth, 43-22, French Kiss, DJ Limousine, Port Orchard, Washington. Fifth, 43-25, Freedom, TL Cattle Company, Norwood, Colorado. Sixth, 43-28, Flower, Shea Schneider, Norwood, Colorado. In your programs of placings on the bottom of that first page there, Class 7, 4, 2, 5. Top of the next page, scratch 1, 6, 3. In the rig next is Class number 8, Division 2 Limousine, Division 8, or Division 2, Class 8.
Really interesting set of heifers out here, and our top pair is probably our closest placing for me. I think I'm going to go with the heifer that starts off the class just the most power. I mean, this heifer, you get behind this heifer, she is really thick-ended. She's got a lot of rib shape, and yet she carries up pretty well. When we put her in motion, when she's not fighting the halter, she takes a nice full stride. She's attractive out through that front end, maybe gives up just a tick to the heifer coming out in second in overall body length, but she's just so powerful in terms of the middle portion of her body, so powerful from the rear. I think she comes to the top for me today. Really attractive red female coming out here in second. I just love this heifer on the side profile. Maybe to compare the two heifers, not quite the power, not quite the dimension when you look down her top as the heifer that starts off the class, but a heifer with a load of potential on down the road as a yearling heifer. Really nicely designed heifer coming out here in third. Heifer, maybe if we were going to change her, maybe like to lengthen her out just a tick in that front end, but I really love the body style and the overall shape and smoothness of this heifer. Again, the red heifer following her, really long-sided heifer, nicely designed, just not quite the power and the shape that we had in the heifers above them today. Leanest heifer in the class coming out here, a heifer with a load of potential on down the road, really green, really fresh, got a lot of potential, just giving up in overall pounds today in the class.
There's the results on Class 401C heifer calves for the pound maker heifers. First place 10-8-15, Lane Geis, Pierce, Minnesota with Loop. Second, 10-8-10, Freeloader, Emma Knetch, Klamath, Oregon. Third, 10-8-14, Biscuit, Leah Geis, Pierce, Minnesota. Fourth, 10-8-13, Fame, Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Fifth, 10-8-11, Finesse, Lauren Terry, Winchester, Kansas. And your programs of placings on that pound maker Class 401C, 2, 5, 4, 3, 1. In the ring next, Class 401D, Junior Heifer Calves.
Nice heifer here to start in terms of future. I like the composition of this heifer. She's very green. She's very feminine up through that head and neck and clean through her chest. Neck comes high out of her shoulder. She's good over her spine. She's wide back to her pins. Exceptionally good on her feet and legs. When you ask her to go, I think this is a benefit to this heifer, especially out of her front end versus our heifer here in second. This heifer here, I love the freshness of her. In fact, she's probably a little more on the chubby side maybe than what's ideal. Got an awesome hair coat to her. You can tell they've done a really good job with this heifer. She gets herself just a little bit lower fronted, and she's kind of in about 3 pieces, and you can see it even on the stand still how she puts herself together. But I'd like to make her a little bit taller at the point of her shoulder. I don't think she's as correct up through her front third as the heifer that wins the class. She does have more substance all the way throughout. She's definitely further along and got more bloom to her. Exceptionally well presented. Just a very good kind of a heifer. I see her though as being just a little bit quicker pattern than our class winner. I like this red heifer a lot in terms of length and performance, and heifer that's got a lot of quality to her, but when you get her into motion, she struggles versus those two heifers in front of her. She's just a little bit coarser and a little bit quicker in her step than those two, but I like a lot of things about her. I love that length and performance in one. Just a very neat kind of a female. I wish she was just a little bit more fluent when you ask her to get around the ring. The heifer that concludes the class is exceptionally stout. She's packed full of muscle from end to end as well too. She's just a little too shallow, maybe a little more stale up through that front third, a little bit rounder in her muscle pattern than what's ideal for me, but she is stacked full of performance and length and muscle all the way through. Just like to balance her out a little bit nicer.
Up next, the ring for Limousine Class number 9, Division 2. Here's the results on Class 8. First place 43-36, Fallon, Sarah Sullivan, Dunlap, Iowa. Second, 43-33, Forever Charmed, Macy Ratliff, Westphalia, Kansas. Third, 43-35, Lake Miss Molly, Boss Miss Lake, I'll get it right, Boss Lake Miss Molly, Boss Lake Genetics, Parkland County, Alberta, Canada. Fourth, 43-32, Boss Lake Miss Molly, 8-12, Wiley Fanta, Starbuck, Minnesota. In your programs of placings for Class 8 are as follows: 4, 2, scratch, 3, 1. Once again in the ring, Class number 9, with our judge from Thedford, Nebraska, Jason Hoffman. After this class will be the Division 2 Limousine Championship.
Really nice set of heifers here in our pound maker show. Heifer comes to the top for me, probably the most nicely balanced, freshest appearing female. I really like her from the side profile. You get around behind her, and for as nice as she looks from the side, she's really got some power. She has some chest floor to her. She has some base width when you view her through the rear quarter. A heifer that's got a lot of future on down the road. Really nice long-sided red heifer coming out here, a heifer that probably is the longest-sided heifer in the class. Maybe like to change her just a little bit when we put her in motion, maybe free her up just a little bit through that hip, but I think that's being pretty picky on an awful nice long-sided female. Adequate in terms of her depth of side, adequate in terms of her spring of rib, heifer with a lot of future. Next heifer coming out, probably the lightest heifer in the class, but a heifer that's really nicely designed. You really like her from the side profile. Just like to stretch her out a little bit to get her any higher today.
Thank you, Mr. Berrigree. Here's the results on Class 401D Junior Heifer Calves. First place, 10-775, Black Betty, Kyle Strandberg, Maynard, Minnesota. Second, 10-774, Fancy, Kyle Strandberg, Maynard, Minnesota. Third, 10-816, Hillcrest, Brandon Van Wyk, Grinnell, Iowa. Up next, 2 entries in Class 401E, Senior Heifer Calves born August, December 2017.
Three heifers that vary a lot in terms of their type and kind. The heifer that led the class up here, she'll be first. I like a lot of things about this female. I don't know how much true performance is in this female, and I think with that I'd like to make her a little bit stronger off that hind leg and down in her pastern. But I think just an overall correctness and presentation and freshness, I like this heifer quite well. Extremely feminine up through that front end, lays in really good at the point of her shoulder, got some substance and volume to her rib. She's adequate in terms of muscle for me, just a very good kind of a female. I'd probably like to change the most off of her hind too. The heifer here in seconds just coarser throughout, because I like the performance in this heifer. I like the muscle this heifer has, and I like the way this heifer puts together her muscle back into her hip and how square made she is. I'd really like to change the hind feet off this heifer. They're a little bit too long. She too is a little bit too shallow heeled for me to get any higher, and I'd just like to balance her out and just tie her together a little bit neater like our class winner. But I do appreciate her for having more true performance. She's a heavier made, stouter type of a heifer. The heifer here in third just doesn't balance out as nice in terms of her rib. She's a little more shallow bodied, her forerib all the way back to her flank, and she kind of wants to cross those hind too when you ask her to go, but a nice type of a heifer in terms of length and femininity.
Here's the results on class number 9 on the Division II Limousine. First place, 43-37, Cell Fascination, Sarah Sullivan, Dunlap, Iowa. Second place, 43-40, Legs Fortune Cookie, Hannah Hooper, Hale Center, Texas. Third, 43-39, Heart Attack, Cameron Bryant, McMinnville, Tennessee. And your programs of placings are 1-3-2. Up next, first and seconds come back in the ring. Classes 7 through 9 for the Division II Limousine Championship. Judge once again, Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska. Up next, first and seconds come back in the ring. Classes 7 through 9 for the Division II Limousine Championship. Judge once again, Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska.
Really well balanced heifer comes to the top here in our senior heifer calves. Heifer that's got some width down her top, a heifer that's feminine out through her front end. We wanted to change this heifer, maybe free her up just a little bit on her front when we turn her loose and start walking her, but I think a heifer that comes to the top in terms of overall design, spring of rib, levelness of underline. Next heifer coming out, a heifer with a lot of function in terms of depth of side, just giving up a little bit in overall profile, wants to drop those pins down just a little bit, not quite as level out over that hip.
Three very nice type of females over here that vary quite a little out here from one another, but the heifer that's got probably the most future to me that I like the best for the long terms is heifer out of the second class here. She'll be your calf champion.
Division II Limousine champion 43-36 comes out of class number 8, Fallon, Sarah Sullivan, Dunlap, Iowa.
In terms of just overall length and performance and substance, I like this heifer here. She'll be your reserve that was second to our calf champion. I'd like to make her just a little bit taller fronted, and I love the presentation of this female. She could be knocked down just a little bit in terms of her composition for right now. I don't know if she's got the future to her that our class winner does. I love our class winner on her feet and legs as she goes, but to me, that's the pair of yearlings right here out of this division.
Division II Limousine Reserve champion 43-33 comes from the same class as your champion, Forever Charmed, Macy Ratliff, Westphalia, Kansas. Up next, we move to class 10 in Division III for the females. 2 entries coming in.
Here in our summer yearling pound makers, big, tall, long-sided female comes out here. And at first you wonder, you know, is there enough to her? But the more you analyze her, she's actually really nice in terms of her rib shape for this stage of her maturity. A heifer, you just love how sleek she is out through that front end, how feminine she is, how well her shoulder lays in. A heifer that's got a lot of future on down the road, really long spine. Heifer, it'll be interesting to see her back out here later on. Next heifer coming out probably closely follows her in kind, a heifer that maybe has just a little more body than our class winner, but maybe doesn't come out of that neck shoulder juncture quite as nice, maybe just fights that front end just a little bit more than I like today. Big, powerful, muscle-shaped heifer coming out here next. You really like her. We'd like to strengthen her up just a little bit in that loin when we put this heifer in motion. She wants to get a little soft there, maybe just a little tighter ribbed than the 2 heifers above her.
Really an exceptionally good heifer here to win the class. I love the youthfulness of this heifer. I love the freshness of this heifer. I love the pattern of this heifer. She's perfect on her feet and legs. She's wide when you get behind her. She's got plenty of muscle over the top. When you get a ways back off of her, she could be just a little bit sappier, but you know, this heifer is not inadequate in terms of depth of body either. But she's made so perfect up through that front end and that shoulder, and so right in her muscle for a female. Just a heifer with a tremendous amount of future. I love how much youthfulness this heifer has too, and how fresh she is. The heifer here in second, I like a lot of things about. Really a powerful heifer on the standstill. She's too short in her stride when you get her to go. I'd like to lengthen her out there. Definitely more mature too, and that vulva tips up just a little bit. Just a little thing I'd like to change, but the biggest thing that sorts the pair is freshness and movement. 2 exceptionally good heifers here in this class.
Catch up on results here. Limousine class number 10, first place, 43-41, Crew Girl, McKinley Palmartree from Durant, Oklahoma. Second, 43-42, Auto Lucky Clover, Cody Heaven, Springfield, Missouri. Up next, class 11, female division 3. Over on the pound maker side for class 401F, early summer yearling heifers. First place, 10-8-22, High Sierra, Fraser Ranch, Paxico, Kansas. Second, 10-8-23, Star, Abe and Renee Fick, Maiden Rock, Wisconsin. Third, 10-8-21, Evening Star, Chase Terry, Winchester, Kansas. In the ring, class 401G, spring yearling heifers, 2 entries. We have 2 classes left within this division. We'll have our grand champion pound maker heifer following this next class after this one.
Two really amazing heifers here in this class. I'm going to go ahead and use this lighter colored heifer that I really admire in terms of her forerib. Heifer that when you start at her hook bone and you go forward, she goes into a nice smooth shoulder. Maybe just a little fatter than the heifer coming out in second, but I think she handles it pretty well for a heifer that's that big and that far along, a heifer that's really smooth, like I say, in terms of her structure. Heifer you get behind, she's got a lot of base width, a lot of muscle shape. Not taking anything away from this black heifer with white markings, really long-sided female, a heifer that's got a lot of length through the center portion of her body, maybe not quite the depth of side, not quite as powerful in her rib as the heifer that leads off the class.
There's a result on class 401G, spring yearling heifers on the Pound Maker Heifer Show. First place, 10-8-25, JVM Eclipse, Hannah Connect from Klamath, Oregon. Second, 10-8-24, Two Socks, Carly McCracken, Alva, Oklahoma. Up next, a single entry, class 401H, junior yearling heifers. This one coming in, born January 2nd, 2017. Our judge, once again, Brian Berrigree from Absaroki, Montana. Following this single entry class will be our grand champion pound maker heifer selection. And then after pictures, we'll have the pound maker bull show, the grand drive, and then we'll have our groups and get classes and also announce premier breeder, premier exhibitor.
Really a nice heifer to win this class over here. She beats them in a lot of ways. She's the best up through that front end. She's the best in her shoulders. She's the best on her feet and legs. Really good in that depth of forerib there. She's good back to her flank. Very ample in terms of muscle. Love how this heifer looks when you get her into motion. Her and that last heifer that won the last class, it's refreshing to come in and see heifers like this that tie so many good things together and then they can get out and move. This heifer here in second, she's the freshest of what's left here, and these other three, she's got a lot of stoutness to her. When you get back behind that forerib, she's got some top in her. She's got a lot of muscle in her. I really like how square hip she is. for having that kind of muscle pattern. I like to make her a little better up through that shoulder, and she wants to toe out just a little bit, but I like her a whole lot more in terms of quality up through her head and neck than this heifer here in third. She's a lot fresher to boot. This heifer does toe straighter ahead, but I think she's got her challenges out of her front end as well. And when you get off the side, she really cuts up in her flank. She's got more substance and she's got more shape to her than this heifer. It concludes the class, and she's quite a bit stronger off of her hind leg. This heifer with that's pretty small in her vulva and just a little too frail to get any higher, but she's very adequate in terms of her muscle, and it blends together in a feminine package.
Really nice single junior yearling heifer out here. Heifer that's got a load of capacity to her. You get down her and look down her top. She's got a lot of muscle shape. A heifer that's got a lot of function to her. It'll be interesting to see how she looks when we get her back out here in the lineup. Just a really fantastic heifer.
Here's a result on Class 401H junior yearling heifers. On the Pound Maker Heifer Show, first place 10-826, Hay Cow, Sherry. Norland Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Up next, Grand Champion Pound Maker Heifer selection. First and seconds back in the ring from classes 401A through 401H. Over on the Limousine side, result on Class 11, Division 3. First place, 4346, Envy, Kinnick Paulson, Preston, Iowa. Second, 4347, Winona, Colton Barton, Gerald, Texas. Third, 4345, Euphoria, Hannah Ziegler, Bloomville, Ohio. Fourth, 4348, Elsie, Aubrey Sturgeon, Rocky, Oklahoma. Next in the ring here is class number 12, Division 3. I know we're having some issues with the audio in the barns, so that could be some of the delay. Class 12 coming in the ring, Division 3. Judge once again, Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska. Aubrey Sturgeon, Rocky, Oklahoma. Next in the ring here is... Keep in mind on the Medal of Excellence show, today it's dedicated in memory of Gene Raymond and G.V. Limousine. Once again, Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska. Keep in mind on the Medal of Excellence show, today it's dedicated in memory of Gene Raymond and G.V. Limousine.
I really like this heifer that wins the class here, just how she's made up through that front third. And for being as feminine as she is up through that head and neck and chest, she's really got some substance to her rib. She's got some hip when you get behind her. She gets out there on her hocks just a little bit when you watch her from behind, but from the side and when you put them in motion, I think she wins the class rather handily. There's a lot of good in this female, and I really like some of the pieces she puts together. The heifer here in seconds, just a little bit tighter. Actually, these two heifers need to be switched here. Go ahead. This heifer here in seconds just got more volume, I see. I think she's got more shape to her rib. She's a little bit better right behind her shoulder, back through her hip. This heifer here gets just a little bit tight for me, tight in that forerib and just a little bit tight all the way through relative to the two heifers ahead of her. But second and third, I'd dang sure like to change a little bit when you get them on the move.
Class 12, female Division III Limousine. Here's the results. First place 43.51, Eternity, Aaron Linhart, Leon, Iowa. Second 43.49, Auto Expectation, Jace Wilder, Snook, Texas. Third 43.50, Andrew Wright, Miami, Oklahoma. Next to the ring, our final class in front of the Division III Championship for Limousine, Class 13. 3 entries coming in just in front of our Division III Championship. Judge once again from Thetford, Nebraska, Jason Hoffman. Over on the other side, the pound maker with our judge, Brian Baragry from Absaroka, Montana. He runs a seed stock ranch with registered Angus. He's got a son, Zane, daughter, Olivia. It's a family operation there in Absaroka, Montana. This is your grand champion, pound maker, heifer, and reserve grand champion selection.
Couple of really nice heifers up here. The heifer that wins the class, she's a bigger footed, stouter boned heifer that's just probably got more substance and depth to her. I think she's got more genuine muscle in her as well when you get behind them. This heifer's got a lot of good to her. Neck comes high out of her shoulder. She's really good in that rib cage. Every now and then she wants to get a little bit tight in those ankles, but I think this is a pretty good heifer that's got a tremendous amount of quality to her as well. Just a really nice heifer to win the class. The heifer here in seconds, clean her up through that chest, but I don't think there's really as much to this female. I know there's not as much substance. She's not as big-footed, and she's shorter strided as well. I don't think she's got as much honest muscle in her as our class winner either, but I think she's a really nice kind of a heifer. I'd like to fix her when you ask her to move, primarily off those hind two. The heifer here that concludes the class is the most restricted in her movement. She's the most choppy in her stride, but lays a tremendous amount of muscle and volume of muscle all the way back. When you get behind her, this heifer's got a tremendous amount to her. Just like to relax her a little bit when you get her to go and see her with some more depth of body. But from end to end, a really nice class.
Extremely high quality pound maker show from end to end. We've got all our class winners back out here, and it's really interesting to see how they kind of develop in age as they mature on out. I guess I've got some heifers in mind that I like a little better, and I've been kind of analyzing them. Let's give these exhibitors a round of applause, these pound makers. This has been a really, really good show. As we went through, I tried to find some heifers that had some femininity to them. I love to look at cattle. I've always selected most of mine off eye appeal. I do like to look at the numbers when we select our genetics, but I think this part of it is really important. I want to see them move. I want to see what kind of rib shape they have when we get them out here. I mean, you can go back and talk to the breeders about the EPDs these animals have and what kind of future they have, but I really really admire this set of cattle out here. Again, I'll go out and select your champion, the one I like today.
Grand champion pound maker Heifer comes out of class 401H, 10826 Hay Cow Sherry. Darling Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. There was no second in that class. My apologies. It was 10825 JVM Eclipse, Hanniganetch, Klamath, Oregon. And your reserve grand champion pound maker Heifer comes with the same class as your champion. That is 10824 Two Socks, Carly McCracken, Alva, Oklahoma. Once again, your grand champion pound maker Heifer, 10825 JVM Eclipse 710E, Hanniganetch from Klamath, Oregon. Reserve grand champion 10824 Two Socks, Carly McCracken, Alva, Oklahoma. I don't know if we'll have a picture break before we get to pound maker bulls, but that's what's on the schedule next. Over on the Limousine side, in the ring is Division III Limousine Championship Drive. Here's the results for Class 13. First place, 4354, Sell, Veda Vicklin, Longmont, Colorado. Second, 4353, Sell Eden, Bo London, Collinsville, Texas. Third, 4355, Everglades, Katie Dobson, Fayette, Missouri. Division III Championship in the ring for Limousine with our judge, Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska.
What an exceptional division here. This represents the National Western Stock Show, I think, extremely well, that you bring out the nation's best cattle, and this is just a division. You'll see a lot of grand lineups that probably aren't this good. And when it comes down to it, it gets somewhat close and then it doesn't. There's a heifer in here that there's a lot of really good heifers, and you find yourself saying, boy, I really like that, and this heifer's got a lot of substance. This heifer's good on her feet and legs. And then there's one you kind of find yourself saying, man, I love how feminine that heifer is up through her front end. I like her youthfulness. I like her elegance. I like her condition. I like the way she's put together. I think she's about perfect in terms of her structure. And I think that's what separates this division. That'll be this heifer calf up here in the front. She'll be your calf champion. And I do love the way this heifer's designed. She is so fresh. She is so youthful. She is laid in so good in that shoulder. Ample in terms of her muscle. She's exceptionally good when you get behind her. When you see her on the standstill, you can tell this heifer is going to move as good as she does. Her angles are perfect, and I just love how fresh and youthful she is, very well presented, and she's going to beat an awfully good one that's got a lot of substance to her, and that's this heifer right here. I like a lot of things about her. She's not as sharp up through that front end. She just doesn't have that crisp look that grabs you like that heifer calf up in front of her every time. Tremendous amount of depth in her forerib. Back to her flank. Maybe doesn't even have as much chest floor for a heifer that's built that stout as the heifer in front of her. But two exceptionally good heifers that represent the show extremely well and represent what you'd expect here at the National Western.
Division III Limousine champion comes out of class number 10, 4341, Cruel Girl, McKinley Palmentary, Durant, Oklahoma. Your reserve comes from class 11, that's 4346, Envy, Kinnick, Paulson, Preston, Iowa. Up next, we'll move to Division 4, Class 14, with our judge, Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska.
Two really nice bull calves come out here in the Pound Maker Bull Show to start off. The bull that kind of comes to the top for me is the bull with the added side length. This bull's extremely long-sided. Then when you get behind him, he maybe has the most shape for me too. Down his top, down through his quarter, a bull that's got a lot of power to him. Really nicely designed red calf here in second. I really like the hip and hind leg on him. I think he's probably, you know, for sure the pound short bull today, and maybe that's why I kind of have to use the black bull, but I really like the design of this bull, the freshness. He gets out and travels, really nice bull with a lot of future.
Over on the Pound Maker Bull Show, Class 501A, results. First place, 10-828, Fraser Turn It Up, Fraser Ranch, Paxico, Kansas. Second, 10-827, JVM Fireball, Lower Grove Farm, New Sharon, Iowa, JVM Cattle Company, Pella, Iowa. In the ring, a single entry, Class 501B, Spring Yearling Bulls. This one born March 14, 2017. After this class, we'll have our Pound Maker Grand Champion Drive. Then the group classes. Then announced Premier Breeder, Premier Exhibitor.
Really powerful single entry bull out here in our Pound Maker Bull Show. A bull that you really admire when you get him off from the side of him. He's really long spine, really long and extended through that front end, long through the center portion of his body. And then when we put him in motion, he comes pretty close to covering his track for a bull that's been at the show all week. And you consider how much power he has and how much added length. Bull that's got a lot of future to him.
Result on Class 501B Spring Yearling Bulls Pound Maker Bull Show. First place, 10-829, Everest. Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Leachman Cattle Company of Fort Collins, Colorado. And Menders Stock Farm, Buffalo Center, Iowa. Up next, Grand Champion Pound Maker Bull selection with our judge, Brian Berrigery of Absaroki, Montana.
We're going to leave these heifers how they came in here. The heifer that wins just got more substance. She's got more depth of rib. She's more pulled apart. She toes straighter ahead than our heifer here in second. The heifer in second's got an advantage in terms of length. I don't think she's any more feminine, and even though she's cleaner up through that neck, she's a little coarser in some ways. But primarily, I'd like to drop her in terms of her depth of rib and her balance and make her a little stouter bone like this heifer that wins the class.
Here's a result on Division 4, Class 14, first place 43.57 in Limousine. 43.57 is first, Ethel Lindy. Wiley Vanta, Starbuck, Minnesota. Second, 43.58, Legs Emerald. Hannah Hooper, Hale Center, Texas. Up next, Class 15, a single entry in Division 4.
Like a lot of things about this single entry heifer here, she's exceptionally long. She's got some depth to her, got some power to her, really square from her hooks to her pins, long up through that front end. Just a really nice type of a heifer.
Well, extremely interesting bull show here in the Pound Maker show. We only had 3 bulls come out, but I think they all 3 have some usefulness and some future down the road. I guess the calf came out here and won his class. He's really extended, a calf that's got some muscle shape to him, a calf that's extremely long through the center portion of his body. That being said, our yearling bull, really long-sided kind of a bull that's extended out through the front portion of his body and then on into the middle part of his body. Both these bulls are adequate in terms of depth of side, bulls that have some power and some punch, some future as herd sires. I'm going to take another look here. Let's give these Pound Maker bull exhibitors a round of applause.
Grand champion Pound Maker bull is 10-8-28. Fraser Turn It Up, Fraser Ranch, Paxico, Kansas. That'll bring 10-8-27 Fireball into consideration for reserve. Grand champion Pound Maker bull is 10-8-29 Everest. Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Leachman Cattle Company at Fort Collins. Minder's Stock Farm, Buffalo Center, Iowa, was your reserve champion Pound Maker bull. Let's go down to Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska, with results on that Limousine class.
Another really nice single entry heifer here. This heifer's got a lot of depth to her. She's square made. Just a really good kind of a female that steps down on a big circumference of foot. Just very nice, very adequate in terms of her muscle. Nice female that's got some extra brood cow look.
Catch up on results on the Limousine side. Coming in the ring next will be our Division IV Limousine Championship. First and seconds back in the ring from classes 14, 15, and 16. Here's a result on class 15. It was a single entry. First place 43.59, Extra Saucy, Kendall Spriggs, Afton, Oklahoma. Class 16, first place 43.64, Madison Craig, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, with Chanel. This will be your Division IV Limousine Championship with our judge once again from Thedford, Nebraska, Jason Hoffman. Over on the South Devon and Pound Maker show, what we have left ahead is groups and get classes, pair of calves, pair of yearlings, 2 bulls, junior get a sire, senior get a sire, produce of dam, and best 5 head. We'll also be announcing the premier breeder, premier exhibitor to round out that show today. Once again, we'd like to thank our North American Limousine Junior Association Junior Board of Directors that are helping us in the ring today. President Randa Taylor, Texas. Vice President Dominic Rupert, Illinois. Secretary Hannah Ziegler, Ohio. Treasurer Lindsay Gulata, Louisiana. Kaylee Hicks, Kentucky. Colt Schrader, Oklahoma. Tristan Gulata, Louisiana. Zane Gavette from Washington, and Brooke Falk, Kansas. Thank you to our North American Limousine Junior Association Junior Board of Directors for helping us in the show ring. Much appreciated.
Very practical lineup of heifers here. This heifer that's the single entry out of the second class will be your division champion. I think she's the freshest. I think she's the most right in terms of her structure when you get her to go. Just a very good kind of a female. For reserve, it gets just a little bit closer, but I like how loose structured this heifer is up here out of the front that wins this first class. She's a very good kind of a female. Maybe doesn't tie herself together quite as sharp as our class winner, but I think when you study this female, she's very good in terms of muscle and rib, very square built back through her hip. Just a very nice type of a female.
Division 4 Limousine champion comes from class 15, that's 43.59, Extra Saucy, Kendall Spriggs, Afton, Oklahoma. The reserve is 43.57 out of class 14, Wolf's Ethelindi, Wiley Fanta, Starbuck, Minnesota. Up next, we move to Division 5, class 17, 5 entries in this next class. Birth dates range from April 5th through April 28th, 2017. Over on the South Devon Pound Maker side, we still have the group and get classes to go. Also announced Premier Breeder, Premier Exhibitor. And our scheduled start time for Miniature Zebu was pushed back to 3. Hopefully we'll be able to make that 3 o'clock start time. We pushed it from 2 to 3. Miniature Zebu will follow our Pound Maker and South Devon group and get classes and the Premier Breeder Exhibitor announcements.
Really a nice class of bred heifers here. The heifer that wins the class is really what you want to find here. She's got a lot of look to her without being too extreme up through that front end. She's a heifer that's got a tremendous amount of natural rib to her, and I think for having that much body, she's extremely ample in her hip. She's got plenty of muscle to her. She's maybe not as long strided as some of the heifers we've seen, but when you put her in when you stop her on the standstill, that she's hard to pick a hole in. Maybe like to see her just a little bit more comfortable. She's just a little bit timid in that stride, but I think she's an exceptionally good heifer that's very fault-free. Really a high-performing heifer is this red heifer here in second. She looks like she's quite a ways along in calf as well. I like to see that. I like the spacement in her teats. She's exceptionally long. She's a very high-performing female. Like to see her step down on a little bigger foot, and she gets just a little bit plainer. She's so long that it probably works against her in some ways because she doesn't have that extra sharp, cool look to her, but she's just plainer in her muscle, she's plainer in her pattern, but she's a very fault-free heifer, and I really, really appreciate the length and performance this heifer possesses. She's so much longer and just deeper and a roomier middled female in this heifer here in third, and I think with that she's a little better up through that chest. I like her angles to her shoulder and her hip better than this heifer. This heifer gets a little bit straight on both ends. I don't know if she's got that natural sweep and depth to her rib. I'd like to clean her up just a little bit. She's just a little jiggly in that navel, carries back into her udder, but I think she's a heifer that's very good, and I think there's just enough femininity and quality to get over this heifer here. This heifer's just a little bit out there for me in some ways, maybe a little bit on the clubby side, and she's a little straighter and bolder up in that front end. And I think with that, she gets a little too easy on those pasterns. A lot of people talk about how squishy footed they can be, but I think we can take it too far as well. I'd like to see her up and have a little more stability to them, but I think there's enough more future in her to get over that heifer. It concludes the class. Really a moderate frame, very cowy, easy fleshing type heifer that concludes there. I'd just like to see a little more gas in her tank.
Over on the Limousine for Division 5, Class 17, here's the results. First place, 43.65, Elvira. Carly Sue Coulterman, Garland, Nebraska. Second, 43.68, Enchanted. Ashlyn Oshner, Kersey, Colorado. Third, 44.17, Ember. Tucker Parkinson, Levelland, Texas. Fourth is 43.69, Extra Class, Logan Alex Wright, Philippi, West Virginia. Fifth, 43.72, Elegant, Cameron Bryant, McMinnville, Tennessee. In your programs, the placings are 1, 3, 2, 4, 5. In the ring, this is Class 18, Female Division 5, Limousine. Judge once again is Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska. Well, we have to go. I know we've got some miniature Zebu folks wanting to make their way up to the ring. We do have get and group classes for the South Devon and Pound Makers. Get and group classes. As soon as we get through those, then we'll get the miniature Zebu show started. But right now, they're getting their pictures finished up, and then we'll have those 7 get and group classes. Then we'll announce the premier breeder, premier exhibitor as well. Over on the South Devon and Poundmaker side, our first group class is pair of calves, and the winner, Luann Frazier, Frazier Ranch, Paxico, Kansas.
Really an interesting class here. There's some give and take in all these females, and for as high quality as they are, I want to be really careful and not nitpick, but one big thing on this class winner, I love her. I love her in terms of her size. She's not too big, but I think there's a lot of performance and a lot of mass and volume in this female. I love how three-dimensional she is. I like the fact that she's feminine enough up through that front end. It comes out high out of her shoulder. Perfect in her rib, really good in her top and her muscle and back through her hip. I'd like to put a little better hind foot underneath of her, and you could have trimmed them just a little bit shorter to get ready for this. I mean, I'd like to, you can tell she needs a shot more heel, but you could have rounded those things off just a little bit and make it a little more deceiving to see. But this heifer puts the most good together. I like the cowiness to her, I like her. I'll take them big all day long, but this heifer is extremely complete, and she might not be as big and racy as some we've seen or that we will see, but she puts a lot of good together. This heifer follows suit extremely well, lays down a tremendous amount of muscle over her top, back through her hip. She's a very good heifer that's very appropriately sized. She's a little bit straighter in that shoulder, maybe a little bit narrower in that chest, and she wants to toe out ever so slightly, and that's splitting an awfully good pair of heifers with a lot of shape to them. The show heifer is definitely the heifer in third. She's presented awesome. I'd call her presented to the nines, the way they got her put together, and there's a lot of good in this heifer. I like her. When you watch her go, I like a lot of things about her. When you get nitpicky, this heifer's too weak and too broke down in those pasterns. And it's almost odd and somewhat in her design how much give is there. And I think when you study her from a three-quarter view, there isn't near enough definition of muscle or substance to this heifer as the two ahead of her. The heifer here in force, a very nice moderate framed heifer. She just gets outpowered, and she's probably a little bit more stale than a couple of the other heifers in here too. Just a very nice fault-free heifer. She does not have the advantage of bone, she does not have the advantage of muscle, and she gets just a little bit plainer and kind of has a little more of a protruding chest when you're dealing with a class this high quality. The heifer here that follows her, she too is a little bit straighter up in that knee and that shoulder. I'd like to relax her a little bit, give her a little bit more angle, but she's a heifer that's got some substance to her. She's moderate framed, she's really bold, she's pulled apart, just a very nice kind of a female that'll make a nice cow. The heifer here that concludes the class, I'd like to change her off of her hind leg. She's a little bit of a faster growing type heifer that probably grew a little past her belly. I'd like to see some more substance to her, make her a little bit more cowy, make her more feminine up through that head to find herself higher.
Thank you, Mr. Hoffman. Here are the results of Class 18 in Division 5. First place, 4380, Tanner Walden, Tonganoxie, Kansas, with Cell. Second place, 4379, Cell Ill, Alexa Montagne, Elk Point, South Dakota. Third, 4378, Eden, Sarah Sullivan, Dunlap, Iowa. Fourth, 4377, Cell, Jace Wilder, Snook, Texas. Fifth, 4381, Estelle, Colton Barton, Jarrell, Texas. Sixth, 4374, Mags Electric Dreams, Faith Briggs, Afton, Oklahoma. Up next, we have two entries in Class 19, Division 5. Two entries. We have one more class within this division, then we'll have our Division 5 Limousine Championship. Over on the other side of the show ring, as we go through our get and group classes for South Devon and Poundmaker, pair of yearlings, two animals, both sexes. First place, JVM Cattle Company, Pella, Iowa. Second place, Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Two bulls, I believe, owned by Exhibitor in the ring at this time. We'll get the results on that in just a moment.
Two very nice functional females here. The heifer that wins the class does so just in sheer power, mass, WDA. There's just a tremendous amount of heifer here. And when she gets her parked right here, boy, you like a lot of things about her. Really bold sprung, really big hipped, pretty square made, just a really good kind of a heifer with a lot of foundation. The heifer here in second, I like a lot of things about. She's a very efficient made female as far as her being just moderate in her frame size. She's an easy fleshing type of heifer that's adequate in terms of muscle, and she's sound enough on her feet and legs. She just gives up quite a bit in WDA and bone.
There's results on Class 19, Division 5, Limousine. First place, 43.82, Emerald Cut, Veda Vicklin, Longmont, Colorado. Second, 43.86, Esther Colton Barton, Jarrell, Texas. Up next, a single entry for Class 20, Division 5, single entry. After this class, we'll have our Division 5 Limousine Championship. Then we have one class, which is its own division, then our Grand Champion Limousine female selection. Once again, our miniature Zebu show will start immediately following our Gets and group classes for the South Devon and Pound Maker. We still have 4 more group classes to go and the Premier Exhibitor, Premier Breeder Awards to announce.
Really a nice single entry heifer here. She's got a lot to her. She's a very efficient made female. Very fault-free. I like her in terms of her composition. She's excellent in her feet. Just a very good kind of a heifer. She's got plenty of muscle to her. She's got plenty of shape. Maybe a little close there at her teats, but I think a heifer with a lot of substance, just a tremendous amount of quality here. Excellent in her feet.
Result of Class 20, Division 5 Limousine. First place, 43.88, Elevate, Julia Weber, Harrodsburg, Kentucky. As I mentioned, up next, first and seconds will come back in the ring. This will be your Division 5 Limousine Championship and Reserve Champion selection. Then we'll have that single Class 21, which is Division 6, then our Grand Drive. There's a result on the group classes. Yet another result. Junior get a sire, 3, both sexes. First place, Fraser Ranch, Paxico, Kansas. Second, Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Third, JVM Cattle Company, Pella, Iowa. We have senior get a sire, Produce a Dam, best 5 head, and 2 bulls yet to go.
Really a lineup with some exceptional features in these females. We won't talk every division, but we are going to talk this one. This heifer that wins the first class, I like this heifer in terms of her composition. I like how angular she is up through her neck and how it correlates to her rib and how square she is back through her hip. She's my kind of female. I like a lot of things about her. Could she be a little bigger footed? Yes, a little bit. And I wish this heifer would just get out and go, because when she wants to, she will fill her track. I would like to put her down just a little bit more foundation underneath that foot, but I love the style and the balance of this female. She's cowy yet very angular and feminine. She's just right in terms of her composition. I think she's ready for the show, but I don't think she's going to melt down a whole lot. She's good up through that chest floor and so angular up through that neck. I like the dimension in this heifer a whole lot, and that's what gets her to win in that class, and the way she's made up through that head and neck and how it ties into that shoulder. When I look at this female, about all I can think of is in the pasture, her feet could get away from her. Not saying they're going to, but they could. They're a little too flat and down in that heel. I'd like to see some more depth there. I'd like to see a little rounder foot under there. I love the shape and the expression and the mass, and you've done an excellent job presenting her. You really have, because she looks good, and she beat 2 really good heifers there that were second and third. The second heifer being quite a bit like her. Just love how she's put together and the fundamentals of that female. But starting from the bottom, there's a little hesitation for me using her the whole way today, because she is the caliber of heifer to do that. The heifer that follows her, I like a lot of things about. This heifer wants to roll just a little bit in that foot, and when you look at them behind primarily, she's a little more empty looking than these heifers in front of her. Not saying she's open. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, because I'm sure she's not, but she's got some shape to her. She just doesn't have the volume and the mass of the 2 heifers ahead of her. I like how long and loose spine she is. She's very cowy to me in a lot of ways without being a little moderate pudgy one. I can see a lot of good in this female. I can see her going down the road and really raising something, because she's got some really dominant features. She is really long up through that neck, and she's got some length to that hip, and she's got some shape and a tremendous amount of quality. She maybe doesn't have quite the style and balance of the 2 heifers when you get a that are ahead of her. Maybe it's because she's a little bit more rugged in some of her design, and I think that's a plus. This single entry heifer back here, I love the feet on this heifer. As good a footed a heifer as we have in this lineup. She's a very basic, very solid, good kind of a female with a lot of rib to her. I like the shape and the condition these people have her in. She's a little bit close there in her teat set, maybe a little bit narrower underneath when you really stop and analyze them, and probably doesn't have the overall style or the presence of the heifers ahead of her, so it makes it pretty challenging. But you know what, when you break down a heifer that's just got the most good in her, that'll be this heifer out of the front there. She will be your division champion here.
Division 5 Limousine champion 4365 comes from Class 17, Elvira. Carly Sue Coulterman, Garland, Nebraska. That'll move 4368 into contention reserve.
For reserve, it gets a little bit closer, but just in terms of fundamentals, we're going to use this young lady's heifer here for reserve division. I love a lot of things about her. She maybe doesn't tie together quite as square and just as dead level as our class winner here, but I think she's got a tremendous amount of good to her. Really rugged in her design and lots of length and a lot of true performance in this heifer. A lot of things you can appreciate about both of them, but the heifer that balances out is definitely this division winner.
Division 5 Limousine Reserve Champion 4382 comes out of Class 19, Emerald Cut, Veda Vicklin, Longmont, Colorado. Up next, we have a single class within the next division. So it'll be your class, it's a single entry, and it'll be your Division 6 Limousine Championship. After that, we'll bring back our Division Champion Reserves for the Grand Champion Limousine Female Selection. We'll also be announcing the 2019 Herdsman of the Year as well. On the Get and Group classes, we do have a result for the Senior Get of Sire, for both sexes. First place, Fraser Ranch, Paxco, Kansas. Second, Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. That was a write-in in their programs. Third, JVM Cattle Company, Pella, Iowa. Still have 3 more group classes to go. Premier Breeder, Premier Exhibitor as well. Following that, we'll have our miniature Zebu show. It'll follow the group classes and that announcement for the Premier Breeder, Premier Exhibitor.
Really a productive young female here. I like this female a lot. I like her in terms of her size. She's exceptionally fault-free. She's really good on her feet. Maybe like to shorten her up just a little bit and square her bag up. But boy, for nursing a fall calf, I don't think we could get a cow to look like this at our place, and I don't think she's too gobby fat. I think you got her looking very nice in the rig she's in to bring her here to town, but yet still isn't gobby fat, and she's given quite a bit to this heifer calf here too. A lot of length and performance in this October heifer calf, and just a very good pair here. Bull calf, sorry. But just a really, really good pair here.
Here's the result on Class 21 and your Division 6 Limousine Championship. First place and champion, 4390, Otto Gurley. That is Jones Brothers, Lamont, Missouri. Up next, Grand Champion Limousine Female Selection and our 2019 Herdsman of the Year Award. Our judge, once again, Jason Hoffman, Thetford, Nebraska. Graduate of Kansas State University. Grew up on a registered cow-calf operation. He's got a ranch in the Nebraska Sandhills, and they sell Hereford, Angus, and Sem-Angus. They have production sales as well in February and in September. They market over 500 bulls and 500 females each and every year. Our judge, Jason Hoffman, Thetford, Nebraska. Mark Anderson. Once again, folks, Our shows today for the Limousine side of the show ring, the Medal of Excellence Limousine Show, dedicated to the memory of Gene Raymond and GV Limousine. It is with great sadness that the NWSS reports the loss of cornerstone limousine breeder Gene Raymond, who operated GV Limousine of Garnett, Kansas. Gene passed away suddenly of a heart attack last week while teaching Graham's school. That school provides cattlemen valuable continuing education in regards to breeding cattle and herd management, and was a passion for Gene, who had been an instructor there since 1973. Gene and his wife, Virginia, began GV Limousine in 1978. They had built their cow herd to over 400 registered females and currently operate GV Limousine with Arnie and Stacy Hansen. Gene was a pioneer and innovator in the limousine breed. He was quick to adapt to new technology and opportunities in the seed stock business and quickly applied those tools and mission to raise high-quality seed stock, supplying commercial cattlemen superior genetics across the United States. Mr. Raymond was a past president of NWSS in 1986-87. He was currently serving on the NWSS Board of Directors and was the current chairman of the Breed Improvement Committee. He also served on the NWSS Board during the 1980s, devoting much of his life to the limousine breed. Gene was wholly devoted to his responsibilities as chairman of the Breed Improvement Committee, given the advent and release of Bolt EPDs and the application of new technologies in today's seed stock business. GV Limousine was an active member of NWSS, who also had his herd enrolled in NWSS whole herd reporting system, LIMS, L-I-M-S, and was a strong believer in performance data reporting and genomic testing to enhance accuracy of the EPDs. Mr. Raymond acquired his degree in animal science from Kansas State University. He served twice as the president of the Kansas Beef Council and also served previously as a member of the Kansas Livestock Association's Executive Committee. Gene also served on the National Livestock and Meat Board for 16 years. Gene was actively engaged in service to others and gave back much of his life to friends in the U.S. cattle industry. Mr. Mark Anderson, Executive Director of the North American Limousine Foundation, said recently, Gene will be greatly missed by not only limousine seed stock breeders, but also commercial cattlemen throughout the United States. Gene was excited to get to Denver again this year, having devoted an extreme amount of time reorganizing the Breed Improvement Committee. He was actively engaged as membership through his committee to come up with suggested mating targets for NWSS breeders in an effort to capitalize on genomic testing and Bolt EPDs. This was a coordinated effort with over 30 committee members over the past 6 months to assist membership in their mating decisions. He was a devoted breeder of limousine cattle in the North American Limousine Foundation. He will be greatly missed by friends and cattlemen throughout the nation. We have suffered the loss of a great man and friend to all he crossed paths with. The entire North American Limousine Foundation family is greatly saddened by the loss of a highly respected cattleman, and we ask you to keep his family in your prayers once again. As I mentioned earlier, today's Medal of Excellence Limousine Show and Wednesday's Pin and Carload shows here at the National Western Stock Show this year are dedicated to the memory of Gene Raymond and GV Limousine. At this time, we have a special presentation of a poem that was written in his honor. So we'll go ahead and have the poem.
Few people have left a bigger footprint in this industry or any other industry than Gene Raymond left in the cattle industry. With that, it's only appropriate that this show be dedicated in memory of Gene Raymond of GV Limousine. With that said, I'd like to share a few of my thoughts that I penned down in the last few days thinking about Gene. Gene was born in 1942, son of a Kansas farmer and plowboy. Went on to become an educator, mentor, and KSU cowboy. Spent a lifetime educating God's caretakers of land and livestock while making a living. Gene truly enjoyed sharing, caring, and just plain giving. He always welcomed the arrival of a newborn calf, loved to tell stories and enjoyed a good laugh. Would work all day and talk on the phone half the night and would bust his butt to do a man right. Today, as we celebrate his life and saddle that riderless horse, he would have us remember the good times with little remorse. Ask not what was his church, but what was his creed. We do know that he truly helped those with a need. Ask not how did he die, but how did he live? Not what did he gain, but what did he give? Now celebrate his life and remember the good times. For now Gene is with the good maker. He has answered the chimes.
Thank you. Once again, our judge, you bet. As we get set for this Grand Champion Limousine female selection, before we turn the mic over to our judge and he makes his picks, I do want to take this time to recognize our North American Limousine Junior Association Junior Board of Directors once again that are helping us in the ring all day. President Randa Taylor from Texas, Vice President Dominic Rupert from Illinois, Secretary Hannah Ziegler of Ohio, Treasurer Lindsay Gulata from Louisiana, Callie Hicks from Kentucky, Cole Schrader from Oklahoma, Tristan Gulata from Louisiana, Zane Gavette from Washington, and Brooke Falk from Kansas. It's also my honor and privilege to introduce to you the 2019 Herdsman of the Year. It is Lonnie Thomas from Boonesboro, Maryland. Congratulations, Lonnie Thomas. Now we'll turn the mic over as we get set for our Grand Champion Limousine Female and Reserve Grand Champion Limousine Female selection. I told you about our judge. How about a big round of applause for this championship lineup and our judge, Jason Hoffman from Thedford, Nebraska.
Well, there's no way to probably do Gene Raymond justice, and that is one guy I truly wish I got to know better, because you were always familiar to him wherever you were and whatever age you were as well too. He always reminded me of the actor Ben Johnson, the way he carried himself and the way he talked. And when I was in college, I can remember him being an official at a lot of the contests, and one time we were in Kansas City and it was a class of Maine Anjou heifers, and I went in and gave him my reasons, and he said, oh boy, he said, you aren't going to like the official. He said, I see it like you, but it's pretty scary how they got it. And I think I talked his high set, but the way he treated me and then talked me through the whole deal, why they saw it the way they did, and how he always recognized you at all these shows and stuff after, and the amount of people that I've known that are either really, really deep in the industry or the amount of people that are pretty green to the industry, the amount of people he taught and educated along the way, his legacy is, I couldn't think anybody that could surpass it. Pretty amazing to be able to do this, and that is definitely one guy I wish I would have gotten to know better. And you got to cherish a lot of these breeders as you go, who built the foundation here at the National Western. An excellent lineup of females here from top to bottom. I like the fact that these calves look like calves. I like the fact that we have a lineup like this you can get back out that are pretty mobile. They're pretty fresh in their appearance. They got some cow look to them, yet they're deserving of being out here in the limelight in the show ring. There's a couple that hit me pretty good, and there's one that hit me the hardest. And like I said earlier, you don't just say, no, I like this about her, I like this about her. It's the fact that you say, she is so good here, and she is so sound, and she is so pretty, and she is so elegant, and she's your grand champion female right here. Nice effort. Yep. The fact that you say, she is so good here.
And your grand champion comes out of Division 3. That is 43-41, Cruel Girl, McKinley Palminteri, Durant, Oklahoma. That'll bring 43-46 into contention for reserve.
When we get in here for reserve, it's pretty neat how you have a heifer that follows suit so well. And I think that the heifer I'm going to use next, to me, is the heifer you make the least amount of excuses for when you're out here sorting through these cattle. And this will be the heifer that was reserved to her in division. When we get in here for reserve, it's pretty neat how you have a heifer that follows suit so well. And I think that the heifer I'm going to use next, to me, is the heifer you make the least amount of excuses for when you're out here sorting through these cattle. And this will be the heifer that was reserved to her in division.
And your reserve grand champion comes out of Division 3 as well as your champion. That is 43-46 Envy, Kennick Paulson, Preston, Iowa. Congratulations to our female limousine competitors and families. As soon as they get pictures over with on that side of the ring, we will resume with the Limousine Medal of Excellence show. We have 4 classes of bulls in our first division. So it'll be Division 1, Class 22, a single entry when we resume after pictures. Now, over on the other side of the show ring, need to finish up our final results for the South Devon Pound Maker. 2 bulls results owned by exhibitor. First place, Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Second, Fraser Ranch, Paxico, Kansas. Third, JVM Cattle Company, Pella, Iowa. Produce of dam, 2 animals either sex. First place, JVM Cattle Company, Pella, Iowa. Second place, RP Farms, Swanville, Minnesota. Best 5 head. First place, Hannah and Emma Ganech, Klamath, Oregon. Second place, Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Third, JVM Cattle Company, Pella, Iowa. And your premier breeder and premier exhibitor for the 2019 National Western Stock Show for the South Devon breed, Darlin Cattle Company, Pierce, Minnesota. Congratulations. They take both the premier breeder and premier exhibitor. Thanks to all of our South Devon and Pound Maker exhibitors. We appreciate you supporting the National Western. Now as we move to the Miniature Zebu show here in the Stadium Arena on my left. They'll allow all the senior, junior bulls and steers. They'll be tied up outside there by the picture area, and they'll be bringing their cattle in for the classes because it takes too long to go back to where they're stalled. So we'll do all the senior, junior bulls and steers first. Then we'll have about a 10-15 minute break, allow them to get those animals back to their pens and their stalls and bring up the females. So that's the show order, Miniature Zebu. I'd like to introduce you to our judge today, Reggie Rodriguez from Cat Spring, Texas. Raised on a family cattle operation in Lubbock, Texas, involved in the Texas FFA for over 50 years. Currently, he's the embryo manager for Terry Bradshaw Ranch and co-manager of Kim Ramsey Brahmans. His favorite part about the livestock industry is working with the next generation of livestock industry participants, whether it be youth or producers. Our judge for the Miniature Zebu show at the National Western Stock Show here this afternoon, Mr. Reggie Rodriguez, Cat Spring, Texas. So on the Miniature Zebus, our first class when they get ready to go will be steers 24 to 36 months of age. It'll be class 105. Class 105 will lead things off. Steers 24 to 36 months of age. We have 3 entries in this first class. But I know they're still bringing up animals, so the Miniature Zebu, as I mentioned, this will be class 105 to start things off. Our apologies that we were delayed on our show time, but we needed to finish the other show before we could start, so we're about an hour and a half behind schedule. Class 105 will lead things off. These are steers 24 to 36 months of age. Entries from Julie Hughes of Pueblo, Colorado, Slinging Dirt 5-card stud. Don Magnuson of Eaton has JJ Shiloh J. And Robin Condor from Elizabeth, Colorado has Robin's Little Critter Ranch Jacks. This is Class 105, first class of steers of the two. Then we'll have our grand champion, reserve grand champion, and a champion challenge steer selection as well. Judge once again, Reggie Rodriguez, Cat Springs, Texas, on the Miniature Zebu Show.
Three really nice steers to start off our Miniature Zebu show today. When you evaluate these cattle, they're no different for me than they are the breeds that are currently shown on the other sides. But three really nice steers. The young man steer up here in the front, a really nice steer. When you look at him, breed characteristic, you really appreciate that about him. I like to soften him up a little bit on those two front to get that around the arena for me, but a really nice steer for that young man. Young man steer here in the middle, a really nice steer. When you look at him, just like to frame him down a little bit, get him off on those shoulders a little bit better for me, but really nice steer. The steer that's going to win the class for me is this young man steer right here. A steer that gets around with a lot of flexibility from here. You like the depth of body that he brings, and you like the breed characteristics. Congratulations.
There's the results on Class 105. Miniature Zebu steers 24 to 36 months of age, our first class of two. First place goes to 5956, Julie Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado, slinging dirt 5-card stud. Second place goes to 5985. He's kind of my neighbor, Don Magnuson, Eaton, Colorado. JJ Shiloh J. Third place, 5984, Robin Condor, Elizabeth, Colorado, Robin's Little Critter Ranch Jacks. Up next, a single entry, Class 106, steers 48 months and older. The exhibitor will be 5957, Harley Rommel, Bennett, Colorado, with Fancher Love Ranch, Kenya Caleb.
young lady brings a single entry to us, but a really nice steer for this young lady, a good project. A steer, when you look at him from the shoulder up, you really like that about that steer. If you can change him a little bit, like to move that hump for a breed characteristic, for me just a little bit back, but other than that, a really nice steer for this young lady. Congratulations.
Class 106 steers, 48 months and older, first place 59.57, Harley Rummel, Bennett, Colorado, Fancher, Love Ranch, Kenya, Caleb. Bring in the first and seconds from classes 105 and 106. This will be your grand and reserve grand champion steer selection for the miniature Zebu. And then we might need some explanation on the champion challenge steer class. I always get that mixed up when we go to state fair, so hopefully our judge can help fill in the blank on the champion challenge when we get to that after this selection.
For our grand champion steer, we have a lot of variations in these two steers. We talked about them in their class. For me, I'm going to use a steer that gets around the arena for me the best with flexibility in those hind legs in the front. I really like this steer. Congratulations to you, sir.
Grand champion steer 59.56, Julie Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado. That'll bring 59.85, Don Magnuson into contention for reserve. Your grand champion is Slinging Dirt 5-card stud.
For me on these two that are competing for reserve, I'm going to use the young lady steer over here. I think it has just a little bit more breed characteristics for me. I like the hump placement as far as the breed characteristic. As I said in this class, I like to move it back just a little bit, but I think he has just a little bit more breed characteristic for me today. Congratulations to you.
Reserve Grand Champion steers 59.57, Harley Rummel, Bennett, Colorado. Fancher, Love Ranch, Kenya, Caleb. Now we come to Champion Challenge steer, and that's where we're going to have to rely on the miniature Zebu exhibitors and our judge to explain Champion Challenge steer when we get to that. Who's in it, who's not. Looks like we're moving to Class 110 Junior Bull 0 to 6 months. This is 5986 Julie Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado. JW's Emperor Constantina Pueblo. Junior Bulls.
We have a single entry in this class. As you can see, this one's going to be a good one for him to halter break, but it's a neat one. When you look at these, like I said, we analyze these and look at breed characteristics on these cattle, just like we do the larger breed of cattle. But this one's a month old, a little bit of a calf. You really like the way that he's looking today. Breed characteristics, I think you've got quite a bit of there. I like the muscling that this calf has at a 1 month old. But congratulations to you, sir.
Go back to that champion challenge steer. The champion from the last show was not here, so an automatic champion challenge steer winner was 5956 Julie Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado, Sling and Dirt 5-card stud. Over on our Junior Bulls, that class right there, first place goes to, on 110 Junior Bulls, first place goes to 5986 Julie Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado, JW's Emperor Constantina Pueblo. That'll move us to Class 111 Junior Bulls, 7 to 12 months of age, 3 entries. They include 5959 Harley Rummel, Bennett, Colorado, Bottleberg Farms, Rio Grande. 5960 William Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado, JW's Prince Augustus. 5958 rounds out the class. That's Robin Condor, Elizabeth, Colorado, Robin's Little Critter Ranch, Dyson. So when those 3 come in the ring, that'll be Junior Bulls, 7 to 12 months of age. We have a total of 4 classes within the Junior Bull division. And we're going to restart on the Limousine side of the show ring. We'll move to the Limousine Bulls. Our first division has 4 classes, and our first class is 22, and it's a single entry. Class 22, Division 1 Limousine, single entry, Class 22. Our judge, once again, Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska.
Two really nice bull calves over here. These are calves that are between 7 and 9 months old. The young lady's calf up here is 7 months, and the one up here is 13 months. I'm sorry, 9 months and 13 months. But a lot of variation in these 2 calves, but very similar to the type and kind. The one that I'm going to use is going to be this young man's bull. I like the breed characteristics. I like the way that he drops off in that flank a little bit. I like the center portion of his body. I like the testicular development even at 13 months. Young lady not taking anything away from her, just like to give that little calf a little bit more center, drop him off at that little the hind end just a tad, but a really nice steer for that bull calf for that young lady. Congratulations.
Nice bull here. I like a lot of things about him, a lot of true performance in this bull and length. Maybe like to see him just a little sappier middled, but I think he's a bull that's got a lot of growth and performance left in him. Really good back through his hip and good in his testicular development. Just a nice calf.
Here's a result on the Limousine Division 1 Class 22 Bulls. First place 4391, last call, Weiss Limousine, Wellsville, Missouri. Up next, a single entry Class 23, Division 1. First place 4391, last call, Weiss Limousine. Back over on the miniature Zebu side with our judge Reggie Rodriguez from Cat Spring, Texas. Class 111 results. First place 5960 William Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado. JWS Prince Augustus. Second 5959 Harley Rummel, Bennett, Colorado. Waterberg Farms, Rio Grande. Scratch was 5958. Class 112 will be coming in the ring. 5961 JC Lance, Brush, Colorado. KW Livestock Batman. 5962 Julie Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado. Waterberg Farms, Blackjack. 5964 Robin Condor, Elizabeth, Colorado. Maxwell Minis, Bartholomew. This will be Class 112 Junior Bulls, aged 13 to 18 months.
Really a nice single entry here again too. This bull's got a tremendous amount of shape to him. Really rugged and loose in his skeleton as he gets around. He's good in his feet, good in his testicular development. Just a very rugged calf that I think's got a lot of future in him.
There's a result on the limousine side for class number 23, Division 1, Bulls. First place 43.92. Rom Floyd Mud Hinkey. Rom Limousine, Arlington, South Dakota. Up next, class 24 single entry. Class 24 single entry up next for the limousine.
Another really nice low birth weight type of a bull here. A lot of shape to him, tremendous amount of testicular development. I'd like to maybe change him a little bit from his hock to the ground when you ask him to go, but I like his youthfulness and his shape to him and his length of spine. Just a very good kind of a calf that's also good-footed.
Result on class number 24 on the limousine, Division 1. First place 43.94, Firestorm, Ashley Sue Corns, Altoona, Kansas. Up next, 2 entries in class 25 for the Division 1 Limousine Bulls. 2 entries, class 25. After this class, Division 1 Limousine Bull Championship Drive.
3 really nice bulls on this side of the arena. A young man that I'm going to use, a young man here in the center. A bull that I think is the most complete bull in the class. You really like that calf when you look at him from his shoulder back. I like the depth of body that he has. I like the way that he has the good breed characteristics on this calf. Congratulations to you, sir. You could flip these two and I wouldn't argue with you. I like to, on the spotted calf up at the front, he'll be our second place. Like to just change him up there on that flank. Like to drop him just a little bit there. Give him just a tad more bone, but a really nice calf for that young man. Round off with the class, the young lady's bull calf here at the end. A calf I'd just like to see more of at this stage in the game, but a really nice calf for this young lady. Congratulations.
Back over the miniature Zebu show with our judge, Reggie Rodriguez of Cat Springs, Texas. Coming to the ring next, a single entry, class 113, Junior Bulls 19 to 24 months of age. Here's the results on class 112, Junior Bulls 13 to 18 months of age. First place, 59.62, Julie Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado, Waterberg Farms, Blackjack. Second, 59.64, Robin Condor, Elizabeth, Colorado, Maxwell Minis, Bartholomew. Third, 59.61, JC Lance, Brush, Colorado, KW Livestock Batman. In the ring once again, class 113 single entry, Junior Bulls 19 to 24 months of age. The entry 59.63, JC Lance, Brush, Colorado, with Robbins Little Critter Ranch, Bruno.
A massive made bull here to start the class. I think he's got quite an advantage in flesh and ability and depth of body and foot quality. He's just really well made, extremely deep. He's got some natural mass and volume to him. He's okay in his testicular development. He beats a really long strided calf that's very striking when he comes out here. He just gets a little too shallow and a little too tight on both ends and the spine.
Single entry on this side. The young lady brings a really nice bull calf. He's 19 months old. You really appreciate a lot of things about this bull calf. You look at him from his shoulder up front. You really appreciate how smooth he goes into that center portion of his body. When you look at the testicular development on this calf, he really has a nice testicular set there, but a really nice calf for this young lady. Congratulations to you.
Let's get the results here. Miniature Zebu, Class 113, Junior Bulls, 19 to 24 months of age, first place, 59.63. JC Lance, Brush, Colorado. Robbins, Little Critter Ranch, Bruno. Up next on that side of the arena, Grand Champion Junior Bulls selection, first and seconds back in the ring from classes 110, 111, 112, and 113. Over on the Limousine side, coming in the ring, first and seconds for the Division I Limousine Bull Championship drive. Our judge, Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska. That last class, number 25, first place, 43.97, Mag's Freight Train. Magnus Land and Cattle, Platteville, Colorado. Second, 43.96. That is 804F. Shelby Skinner, Bolivar, Missouri. Once again, this Division I Limousine Bull Championship drive in the ring right now on my right.
Nice lineup of very useful breeding bulls as we get them out here. There's some give and take in all these bulls, but there's a couple individuals that just suit me the best. This calf out of the last class here will be your division winner. I think he's the most rugged with some natural depth of body and just a really good made type of a bull with exceptional feet. And for reserve, we'll take the single entry out of the second class there. Really a loose structured bull that's got a lot of shape to him, a lot of natural muscle to him, very rugged in his kind.
For our junior champion bull, I think we've got a lineup of four really nice individuals. We talked about them all in their class. I'm going to go out and pick the one that I think fits the mold for me as far as breed characteristic, has some muscle and depth of body, and good testicular development. Congratulations to the winner.
Over on the Division I Limousine Bull Championship, your champion is 43.97. That comes out of class 25, Mag's Freight Train, 3003 FET. Magnus Land and Cattle, Platteville, Colorado. The reserve champion for Division I comes from class 23, 43.92, Rom Floyd Mud Henke, Rom Limousine, Arlington, South Dakota. We'll move to Division II. It's a single entry class and division. Single class in the division, Division II Limousine. So class 26, single entry in the ring, and your Division II Limousine selection. We'll get you the results on the Junior Bull Grand Drive on the miniature Zebu and let you know that in just a moment. Coming up next on that side of the show ring is Class 116, a single entry. Senior Bulls, 24 to 36 months of age. The single entry from 59.65, JC Lance, Brush, Colorado. Robbins Little Critter Ranch, Eddie McAlfee.
Really good single entry here. I like this bull's structure a lot. I like his presence. I like his look. He looks like a herd bull. He's got a tremendous amount of length. He's really good back through that quarter and carries it down into his hind leg. His testicles got a little twist to him. I'd like to clean him up a little bit there in his sheath, but other than that, I'd call him just about ideal in the way he's made and presented. Really good kind of a bull.
Catch up on results here. Division II Limousine champion and that single entry class number 26, first and champion 4,400, Mags Farron, Magnus Land and Cattle, Platteville, Colorado. Up next, we move to Division III. We have two classes in this division. Our first class is a single entry, class number 27, Division III Limousine Bull. Judge once again Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska. Back over on the miniature Zebu in the ring is 116 senior bulls, 24 to 36 months of age. Your grand champion junior bull was out of class 113, 5963, J.C. Lance Brush, Colorado, Robbins Little Critter Ranch, Bruno. Your reserve grand champion junior bull was out of class 111, 5960, William Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado, J.W.'s Prince Augustus.
Another single entry in this class, but a really nice bull calf this young lady brings, a 3-year-old bull. You really like the hump placement on that bull. You like the pea-size hump that he has right there. You really like the depth of body that he carries from that shoulder back. If I could change him a little bit, like to get him off on those two back wheels a little bit better. But a really nice calf for this young lady. Congratulations.
Result on the miniature Zebu for class 116 senior bulls, 24 to 36 months of age. First place, 5965, J.C. Lance Brush, Colorado, Robbins Little Critter Ranch, Eddie McAfee. Up next, 3 entries in class 117 senior bulls, 36 to 48 months of age. The 3 entries include 5966 Don Magnuson, Eaton, Colorado, J.J. Red Velvet Chip J. 5967 William Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado, TCC Judge Eli. 5987 rounds out the class, which is Patrick De Niro, Kingsburg, Colorado, Harmony Heights Tough. This is class 117, senior bulls 36 to 48 months of age, with our judge Reggie Rodriguez of Cat Springs, Texas.
Another really nice single entry. Excellent presentation here. This bull's neck comes out really high out of his shoulder. He's exceptionally long-bodied. He's exceptionally good on his feet and legs. Just a very good-footed, very good individual, a very useful type of bull. Good job.
Result on class 27, Division III Limousine Bull. First place, 4403, JLX Exceed, Alexa Montagne from Elk Point, South Dakota. Up next, 2 entries in class 28, Division III Limousine Bulls. Then we'll have our Division III Limousine Championship drive.
Another set of really nice bulls on this side. Young man's calf up here. I want to talk about these and then we'll place them. Really nice bull up here for breed characteristics. You like this calf from from his nose all the way to his tail. You really like the breed characteristic that he has. I like the hump placement. I like the way that his horns come together like they should. Really nice calf there for that young man. Young man's bull that comes in second. A really nice bull, the gray, darker bull. You really like the breed characteristics on that bull. You like the hump placement on him. I like the way that his horns come in together like they should for breed characteristics. You like that bull calf a whole lot. Young man's here, third bull that's going to be your third place bull today is a really nice bull. You like the breed characteristics. What I like to change about that bull, he wants to get a little short-strided for me, but a really nice calf. The young man here will be first. This young man will be second. Young man's here, third bull that's going to be your third place bull today is a really nice bull. You like the breed characteristics. What I like to change about that bull, he wants to get a little short-strided for me, but a really nice calf. The young man here will be first. This young man will be second.
Really just a useful bull, wins the class, but what separates the pair is testicular development and just structure. This bull gets around the ring more comfortable. He's looser in his design, he's looser in his movement, and he's just a freer and easier tracking bull that I see more longevity to. And with that, I think he's got one of the better spreads from an EPD profile we've seen yet today. On the standstill, I love this bull, and it probably isn't quite as close. This bull's got a lot to him. He's more ready, too. He's more of a show bull. He's really square up over that top, lays in great behind his shoulder and back through that hip. Got a tremendous amount of substance to him. He's just a little too restricted in his movement, and I'd like to see some more shape and maturity to his testicles as well.
Catch up on results here on the Limousine side. Right before our Division III championship, Class 28, first place 4405, El Toro, Ashlyn Ushner, Kersey, Colorado. Second, 4404, Auto Kingdom Come, Pinniger Limousine, Springfield, Missouri. As I mentioned, up next, Division III Limousine Championship Drive with our judge Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska. Over on the other side, Class 117 Senior Bulls, 36 to 48 months of age. First place, William Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado. Second place, Patrick De Niro, Kingsburg, Colorado. Third, 5966, Don Magnuson, Eaton, Colorado. Go down to our judge, Reggie Rodriguez, with results on this class.
Young lady brings a really nice bull here. She said he's 10 years old. You like that about him. You like how he's stayed together for that age. You like the breed characteristic. You like the hump placement. If I could change him up, just like to change him up on those two front. He wants to toe out for me a little bit more than I like to see. But a really nice bull for this young lady. Congratulations.
Result on the miniature Zebu for Class 119 Senior Bulls, 60 months and older. First place, 5968, Sarah Rummel, Bennett, Colorado. Fancher Love Ranch, Lucky. First and seconds back in the ring. This will be your Grand Champion Senior Bull selection and a Reserve Grand Champion selection with our judge, Reggie Rodriguez, Cat Springs, Texas. Currently embryo manager for Terry Bradshaw Ranch and co-manager of Kim Ramsey Brahmins.
These two bulls are really similar when you get them back out here. I do think this bull here has got a little bit of an advantage. He'll be your division champion. He's got an advantage in length and just probably performance and some more substance of rib and maybe even a shot more muscle and bone. Just a really good bull. He'll be your division champion. And for reserve, no disrespect to our second place, but just as far as looseness of structure and how relaxed and the angle of this bull's shoulder and the testicular development, he'll be your reserve division. Two very good, useful, loose spine type of bulls with excellent testicles underneath them.
Division III Limousine champion comes out of class number 28. That's 4405, Aylin El Toro, Ashlyn Oshner, Kersey, Colorado. The reserve champion is 4403. That's the first place animal from class 27, JLX Exceed, Alexa Montagne from Elk Point, South Dakota. Now we move to class 29 and division 4, a single entry class and a single class within this division. Class 29 and your division 4 limousine champion drive with our judge Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska.
Over on our drive for our miniature Zebus, I think we have three really nice bulls that represent the breed very well. We talked about these in their respective class, and we talked about what we'd like to change in each one of them. But I'll go out and pick the one that I think, for me, when you look at them for breed characteristics and structure and soundness and flexibility, I'll go out and pick your champion.
Another nice single entry here. This bull's got a lot of length to him. I like the composition he is. He's got some depth to his heel. He's a big testicled bull. It's got some ruggedness. Just a very good single entry bull here. Another nice single entry here. This bull's got a lot of length to him. I like the composition he is. He's got some depth to his heel.
Over on the limousine side for Division 4 and your Class 29, first place and champion 4406, WLR Evidence ET, Weiss Limousine, Wellsville, Missouri. Now we move to the next Division 5. Two classes in the next division. Our first class has 2 entries. It's Class 30. Back over on the miniature Zebu, your champion, your Grand Champion Senior Bull is 5967 out of Class 117. The Senior Bulls, William Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado, TCC Judge Eli. That moves 5987 into contention for reserve. Your reserve grand champion senior bull for the miniature Zebu is 59.87. Second place from the same class as your champion senior bulls. That is Patrick De Niro, Kingsburg, Colorado, Harmony Heights Tough. Now we have a champion challenge bull. If the last champion was here, and I'm getting a head shake, yes. So our grand champion senior bull, 59.67, William Hughes of Pueblo, will show against the previous champion. This will be the champion challenge bull coming in the ring next. After this, we'll have about a 10-15 minute break while the exhibitors take their steers and bulls back to their stalls and they bring up the females. Okay?
A really good, sound, functional bull here. Steps down on a great big old foot, good in his testicles, very rugged and just a lot of shape to his rib and hip. Very good kind of a bull with added look as well. Maybe not as big framed as some you might see if this class were bigger, but I think he's a very complete bull, but he's so sound on his feet and legs. I think that really sets him apart. And to go along with that, he's got more depth of body than this bull here in second. He's a looser in his spine. He's a little better from his hooks to his pins as well, but he's just so much more relaxed off of his front end when you ask him to go. Just a very good pair of bulls. A lot of length and performance in this bull in second.
For our grand champion miniature Zebu, I think we've got two really nice bulls up here that represent the breed very well. If you would, let's give these breeders a round of applause. I think this is a breed that's coming along for these guys. You know, for me, I think the young man that's going to win the champion today, I think when you look at these two bulls, I think he just has a little bit more depth of body there. I like the way that he comes down that flank just a little bit better for me today. Congratulations to you, sir.
On that champion challenge bull was that 59.68. Is that Fancher Love Ranch Lucky? I think. We'll double check. Back over on the Limousine side, your result on class 30 within Division 5. First place 4409, Auto King David. That is Pinniger Limousine, Springfield, Missouri. Second place 4408. DJ Edison, DJ Limousine, Port Orchard, Washington. In the ring with our judge, Jason Hoffman, Thetford, Nebraska, is class 31, a single entry.
Really a nice single entry here. I appreciate this bull for how raw he is in his composition and design. With that, though, he's got a tremendous amount of muscle in him and a great big hip. Steps down on a huge foot. He's really long and extended up through that front end. Yeah, it has something to it. Maybe not as soggy as some, but I think he's a bull that you sure got to appreciate in the condition they brought him to town in. And boy, you get behind him, and it's surprising how much hips in this bull. Huge feet and a lot of look in this individual.
There's a result on class 31, Division 5 Limousine bull. First place 4413, FWLY Can Do, Folly Farms, Lynchburg, Ohio, and Logan Hills Limousine, West Harrison, Indiana. Up next for the Limousine will be Division 5 Limousine Championship. Back over on the miniature Zebu, we're in that 10 to 15 minute break when they take all their bulls and steers back, get them stalled, and bring back the heifers and the females. Your champion challenge bull was 59.67. William Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado, with TCC Judge Eli.
Very good representation for your bull show here in this division. The bull that up front is going to be your division champion here. I like his looseness, his structure. I like his flesh and ability, the depth of rib he's got to him. Added look, great muscle, just a very good bull that's good on his feet and legs. Really an eye-appealing bull with so much more to him. Then for reserve, we'll go to this bull here. He's just looser structured than the bull we're going to leave down there, and he's got a humongous foot under him and humongous testicle. Lots of look to him. Maybe like to just pull him apart. He's a little bit more narrow up through that chest, the way he blends together, but this bull's got some really, really useful pieces to use as a breeding bull, maybe for your operation, because there is a tremendous amount of good. And in my preference is the ruggedness and the rib of this calf that wins the division.
Your Division 5 Limousine champion comes out of Class 30. That's 4409 Otto King David, Pinnaker Limousine, Springfield, Missouri. Your reserve comes from Class 31, 4413 Can Do, Folly Farms, Lynchburg, Ohio, and Logan Hills Limousine, West Harrison, Indiana. Up next, Division 7. We skipped 6. We go to 7. Division 7 Limousine. One class, single entry in the class. So this will be your class winner and your division champion all in one. Class 32 coming in the ring next with our judge Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska. Miniature Zebu, they're on a stall break. They got to switch animals. So as soon as they get back, we'll restart with the females. On the limousine side, as soon as we finish with the Division 7 Limousine Championship in Class 32, it'll be time for us to bring in all of our division champion and reserves for the Grand Champion Limousine Bull and Reserve Grand Champion Limousine Bull selection. We'll also be announcing the Premier Breeder and Premier Exhibitor for the 113th National Western Stock Show for Limousine.
Really a long extended bull here on the standstill. When he levels out, I like a lot of things about him. He's exceptionally long, he's big testicled, he's got some depth to that heel. Just a very useful and practical type bull.
Here's results on Class 32, Division 7 Limousine. First place, 4415 ELCX Kings Landing. That's also your champion for Division 7. That is White Valley Ranch, Adair, Oklahoma, Weiss Limousine, Wellsville, Missouri, Edwards Landing Cattle, Beulahville, North Carolina. First place and champion for Division 7. Champion reserves all coming back in the ring from each of our divisions. This will be a Grand Champion Limousine Bull selection. Judge once again from Thedford, Nebraska, graduate of Kansas State University. Jason Hoffman grew up on a registered cow-calf operation. They have a ranch in Nebraska Sand Hills and sell Hereford Angus and Sim Angus. They have production sales in February and September. They market over 500 bulls and 500 females each and every year. Our judge once again for our championship drive, Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska. Keep in mind today's Medal of Excellence Limousine Show and Wednesday's Pin and Carload Show at the 2019 National Western is dedicated to the memory of Gene Raymond and GV Limousine. And lastly, the North American Limousine Foundation elected new members and officers for its board of directors during the annual meeting held in Denver, which was on January 14th. Those newly elected to serve the foundation for 3-year terms include Ron Cunningham of Rose, Oklahoma, Troy Gulata of Independence, Louisiana, Kevin Oshner of Kersey, Colorado, and Jerry Wolf of Morris, Minnesota. Gary Fuchs, Cameron, Texas, was selected to serve as the NWSS president. He succeeds Brett Bergert, Allison, Texas. Joey Friend from Elizabeth, Colorado, was chosen to serve as vice president. The remaining executive committee consists of Kurt Wazorek from Mount Vernon, South Dakota, as secretary, Mark Barker, Newcastle, Oklahoma, serving as treasurer, and Dan Hunt of Oxford, Nebraska, will serve as member at large. Brett Bergert, Allison, Texas, will continue on the executive committee as ex officio. The additional breeders of the 15-member NWSS board of directors include Joe Moore, Rafine, Virginia, Bruce Lawrence, Anton, Texas, Charles Linhart, Leon, Iowa, Wade Beckman, Roberts, Idaho, and Randy Corns, Altoona, Kansas. The North American Limousine Foundation would like to thank the 4 retiring board members once again for their service. Those retiring members are Dexter Edwards of Beulahville, North Carolina, Jim Bob Hendrickson of Adair, Oklahoma, Austin Hager of Carlsruhe, North Dakota, and Greg Blades of Midway, Kentucky. Once again, for more information about the Limousine and Limflex cattle and the North American Limousine Foundation programs and services they offer, please visit www.nalf.org, or you can contact the office at 303-220-1693. So we are down to our Grand Champion Limousine Bull selection and the Reserve Grand Champion Limousine Bull selection with our judge, Jason Hoffman, Thedford, Nebraska. This will be the last chance I get to thank our North American Limousine Junior Association Junior Board of Directors, President Randa Taylor of Texas, Vice President Dominic Rupert of Illinois, Secretary Hannah Ziegler of Ohio, Treasurer Lindsay Gulata of Louisiana, Callie Hicks of Kentucky, Colt Schrader of Oklahoma, Tristan Gulata of Louisiana, Zane Gavette of Washington, and Brooke Falk of Kansas. Thank you once again to our North American Limousine Junior Association Junior Board of Directors. We appreciate your help in the ring.
Really a good lineup of very useful bulls that can add a lot to a lot of different operations. Yet the thing they have in common is structure and testicular development. They're just very useful and they're kind. I know maybe your shows have dwindled a little bit over the years, but I do hear a lot more of people wanting a Limmy heifer or Limflex heifer, and you can kind of feel the strength and kind of the comeback. I come from a breed that was a lot similar, where our numbers have definitely increased back over time, and I have the same feeling for your breed here. It's an honor to be judging at National Western Stock Show. Very good lineup. Couldn't think of a better dedication of a show that I've ever been a part of. I'll go pick your champion in reserve.
Your grand champion Limousine for the 113th National Western Stock Show is 4,400. That comes out of that second division. No reserve there. Magnus Land and Cattle, Platteville, Colorado, with Mags Farron, 218F. And your reserve grand champion comes out of Class 30 and the Division 5 That is 4409 Auto King David 120 EET, Pinnaker Limousine, Springfield, Missouri. We still need to announce the Premier Exhibitor, Premier Breeder Awards, and then double check the Supreme Champion Limousine female that's in the program. We'll check and let you know as soon as we find out from the show staff. We'll restart the Miniature Zebu show here in just a few moments as soon as we get all the animals up. If they're there, Class 124. You're in the ring first. 2 entries, Class 124. Heifers 4 to 8 months of age. 5970 Nexel, Eaton, Colorado with Ruby. 5969 Julie Hughes from Pueblo with JW's Mighty Aphrodite. Class 124 will lead things off on the heifers 4 to 8 months of age for Miniature Zebu as we restart. Our judge, Reggie Rodriguez from Cat Springs, Texas. Looks like we're ready to go back on the Miniature Zebu, Class 124, 2 entries. Heifers 4 to 8 months of age. 5970 Nixel, Eaton, Colorado with Ruby. 5969 Julie Hughes, Pueblo, Colorado with JW's Mighty Aphrodite. We have 3 classes in the heifer division. 3 classes. We'll have a Grand Champion Drive, Reserve Grand Selection. Then we'll have our Senior Cows, Senior Cow division. We have Pee Wee and Senior Showmanship. That's what's ahead of us for the Miniature Zebu show.